The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Wednesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta here, Anthony Hardwig over there.
You can't miss me. I look like a traffic cone today.
Well, an orange traffic cone.
I'm hard to miss.
And if someone
I
hits
just
your...
wanted to make sure that I wasn't hit on the parking lot today by any cars that decided to.
But if someone were to hit your cone or your get
My
up
body,
there...
I would have a bad day.
Well, you would also probably play Rocky Top, which isn't a bad thing.
Boop.
Yeah, because I've heard that song enough living in that state for 6 years.
You know, you're driving. Well, I just hit a guy, but nice tune.
Well, hold on a second. I want to hear Rocky Top again. Slap this guy in the back of his head. Okay. Yeah, we're not.
The orange pin to go.
Yeah, we're not advocating any of that nonsense, but you do look good in your Tennessee orange.
Yeah, the softball team's playing in the SEC tournament today, so go Vols.
There you go. You would be probably voted for mayor if I took you to Knoxville or somewhere around that neck of the woods.
I'd only be mayor during softball season because then the Tennessee stuff goes in the closet, and I'm just like, you guys do what you want.
No. Yeah.
I mean, you win, cool. I have friends that are Tennessee fans, so it's like cool. But softball comes around, I'm like, let's go.
It is a very unique place in the fall.
Yes, I've been there.
Yeah, it's a unique
Not in the
place.
fall, but I've been there in the spring.
It's a beautiful campus first and foremost, but Tennessee in the fall is a very unique place. They love their volunteers.
You want a beautiful campus. You ever been to Alabama?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. Ole Miss is gorgeous. I know that.
I think their courtyard is like the size of Youngstown State's campus.
Whoa. Okay.
Well,
I mean, any school in the SEC, you can't go wrong because the hotness factor is just off the charts.
In the weather, not
both. So I mean, it's absolutely incredible, and I'm just saying. But I mean, I'm just saying it's beautiful there. The weather and other things. 330-886-0813, the MPV vote.
Thank God we have local stuff to talk about.
Heating and air conditioning hotline open for business.
This show can get off the rails real quick.
I was checking before we went on the air if there were any major upsets across the state of Ohio. Not really. Everyone's basically now going to be playing either today or tomorrow. Everyone's going to start getting into the sectional title games, and that's where maybe we can see a couple of upsets.
I broadcasted an upset last night. It wasn't a major upset, 18 versus 12.
Yeah, but we haven't had any major upsets.
Kirtland came into LeBray, and, man, the microcosm of if you have one bad inning or two bad innings in LeBray's case, you're in serious trouble, and that's what the deal with baseball or softball is in tournament time. I mean, LeBray found themselves down 8-0 after 2.
Oof.
It was 5-5 after that, total competitive.
Yeah.
But you dig yourself that kind of hole,
and it's hard to get out of.
And it was just
especially if you've done it in 1 or 2 innings. Now that only leaves you 5 innings. If you've done it for the first 2 innings, now you got 15 outs, and you got to be able to erase an 8-0 deficit. And first and foremost, you have to keep them completely off the board.
Which they didn't.
And they weren't able to do that. If you're down 8 and you give up 4 more runs, that means you have to score 12 runs in order to send it to extra innings, 13 runs in order for you to win the ball game. So it's tough. It's difficult.
Kirtland's dealing with a lot, but they came in with they lost a couple of pitchers throughout the season due to injury, and they have one pitcher that has pitched all their innings on their roster, and she pitched really well. She has pitched 120 innings for Kirtland coming into
now. Is that other pitcher now healthy come tournament time, or is she out for the year?
I think she's out. Oof. I think it's been Cantini, and that's rolling with her. And her ERA is like 5.36, which is rough. But when you pitch all the innings, you're expected your ERA to go.
Yeah, you're
inflate
not
a little bit.
You're not gonna be a very low earned run average if you're pitching every single game.
She looked pretty fresh last night, so maybe they gave her some days off and rolled into the tournament fresh.
That's what I was saying yesterday about Letonia. Letonia had a really fun year when, in context of 2019, they won 1 game. Missy Brock took the team over. They went from 1 win to 8 wins, and probably would have gotten more, but they only had 1 pitcher. And unfortunately, that 1 pitcher had to throw every single game, and that's where you can get a little sideways. You have to have a second or a third pitcher.
Yeah, you definitely do. And now Kirtland has a chance to get themselves in the district semifinals because they beat the 12. Now they travel to the 13. They're kind of sitting pretty with 2 games back-to-back against seeds that are comparable to them. So
yeah, but then you wonder, how long is it going to be before you see the bugaboo of this kid now getting really tired and stuff happens?
That's one of the good things about the tournament, though. You win tomorrow. They play at Waterloo tomorrow. And then she has, 5 days off before the next game?
Yeah.
So,
and that could be a good thing. If she gets past that, you get 5 days off, which you can rest your arm, not even throw during practice. Just hey, you over on the sidelines, or work on your hitting, because you're not gonna throw a softball for at least 4 days.
And she also hits pretty well. She had 6 RBIs last night, including a 2-run dinger. It's hard to hit home runs in La Brea. I don't know if you've ever been there. The fence is like 8 feet tall.
Ooh.
They have an 8-foot fence in the outfield.
That's interesting.
And you earn your home runs there. There were a couple of shots that went off the top half of the fence that probably would have been home runs in almost any other softball field.
Now help me out. A regular softball field would have a fence. How high would that fence be?
You go to like South Range, maybe 5 feet.
Okay.
Right at the outfielder's head or right at the outfielder's neck.
Okay.
Ish.
Yeah.
I think Firestone is like 5 or 6 feet.
Okay.
But this one's like 8. So you can't reach up and rob a home run.
You're going to have to jump. Yeah, you're going to have to do a Kenny Lofton or something like that, where you jump high in the air and go reach over the fence and go, not today.
At least it's a chain link fence so you can grab onto it.
Oh, yeah, do a little Spider-Man thing. Okay. Nice.
But no, you have to, and that'll be the host of the district semis and the district championship game. So
interesting.
Something did scare me. Their second base kind of came up and they couldn't get it back down, and they got the best they could, but they were just like, "Oh, be careful."
Yeah, if you slide in there and then here you are, and then the base is kicked 20 feet past you, and you're like, "Well, how the hell am I going to go back to the base? It doesn't exist right now. I mean, am I going to get called out here?"
And I'm like, "Oh, just be careful. That's like your foot could get jammed into the base and you break your leg.
Yeah,
just be careful."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Uh-oh."
That's
hopefully they get that fixed in the next week.
Those are wonderful words. So please be careful.
Just be careful. I heard a coach say, "Be careful over there. I don't think anyone will get hurt." And I was like, "Oh God."
Yeah. Those are the old commercial. Well, I don't think there's a chance for you to get hurt. Oh, okay. Let's see how this really works.
Like those new commercials, probably, and just what's the difference? Well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
They probably come in peace.
Little radar thing starts blowing cars up. Oh, okay. They probably don't.
These are probably parachutes. This one has a lunch in it. That's mine.
Oh, Lordy. All right, so lots of tournament action yesterday, and obviously today. Division 1 and 4 are in the sun, literally. Thank you, Mother Nature.
Some teams have to play 2 tournament games in back-to-back days because there were some Division 4 games, of course, that got moved to yesterday because fields were unplayable on Monday. So we'll have to see how those teams kind of handle playing back-to-back days, which is no different than the season, so they shouldn't really affect anyone.
I don't think it should. Division 1, your 3 local tournament games. Canton Glen Oak is at Fitch. Howland will travel to North Canton Hoover. And Mentor is going to be playing at Boardman. Division 4, Southern is at Matthews. Bloomfield is at Badger. Lordstown at Brookfield. Chalker is at Lisbon. Lowville at McDonald. Sebring at Bristol. Mineral Ridge will visit East Canton, and Western Reserve is at Jackson Milton. All of those games beginning at 5 o'clock today.
Mobile won a straight-up pitcher's duel to get to McDonald last night. They won 1-0, and Sammy Kelly pitched a gem for them. They're going to need another one because they're going into McDonald, and if they don't hold McDonald down, they're going to have a tough time scoring runs on Breakout.
Yeah.
So the last time they played, Breakout held them to 1 hit and shut them out, so they'll need some magic. They're really fast, so they can play a lot of small ball, which is helpful when you're dealing with a dominant pitcher. If you can just tap the ball in front of the plate and get to first, and then once someone on Lowville's team is on first, they're almost automatically on second because they're just so fast.
Ursuline played yesterday, which I thought was interesting. They decided to play instead of take the bye. Right. They shut out Camel, no surprise. 17-0. They scored 8 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Essentially, game was pretty much over after that. 17 runs on just 13 hits. Campbell was limited to 1 hit. Ursuline goes to the sectional championship game, where that game will be played tomorrow. Ursuline will be playing Grand Valley in their sectional title game.
And that will be at McCune Park because obviously the YSG softball complex is occupied.
Yes, it is currently being occupied for the Horizon League championship round. And again, a 4-team double elimination tournament, much like what we're going to see the following weekend with the Penguins. And it's pretty simple. If you win 3 games in a row from the get-go, you're going to the NCAA tournaments. If you lose the first game, you got to win 5 games in a row in order to get to the NCAA tournament. If you win the first game and lose the second game, you got to win 3 games in a row to get into the NCAA tournament. If you win the first 2 games, you're in really good shape. All you need to do is win 1 more game before you lose 2.
Right.
And you go to the NCAA tournament. So that first game is incredibly important.
Those, if necessary, games become kind of chaotic because if you lose the first one, obviously the next one is just the pressure is off of the team that just beat you the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Because now it's just win or go home. It's just one of those.
Now it's switched all the way to the team that was previously undefeated. You just went from, okay, we're fighting for our lives to now, all the pressure's on them because now they're going to be guilty of gagging if we beat them. All that pressure, all that whammy-jammy is on them where we're just going to sit back and, we're just going to play ball and, nothing's expected of us. We already have 1 loss. Nobody's expecting us to beat this team 2 times in a row. We'll play loose. Okay. See what happens.
Don't want to find yourself in it if necessary.
Oh God, no. No. Get that done immediately. When you lose the first game, oh man, that could have some ugly ramifications.
And one of the great things about double elimination is if you have 1 bad day or 1 bad game, you're not out of it. You have a chance to regroup and refortify yourself. Now, if you lose on Thursday, you have to play again on Thursday, and you have to win on that game. So that's kind of tough.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're going to play 2 games. Everyone's going to play 2 games on Thursday.
Well, not if you win.
Well, no, if you win, you play that game as well. So by the end of Thursday, from what I'm gathering, by the end of Thursday, you'll have that one team that's unbeaten, and you'll have one team that's eliminated, and 3 teams that have 1 loss. The second day will be the 2 original losing teams play each other, and then the second game is the winner of that game takes on the loser of the winner's title game bracket.
Here's what Thursday is.
Okay.
So Youngstown State will play RMU in the first round at 12.
Okay.
Oakland will play UIC at 3.
Okay.
And then the 2 losers will play each other at 6.
How's Friday then?
Friday are the 2 winners play each other.
Okay.
And then the winner of the losers game from Thursday will play the loser of the game on Friday. Does that make sense? Because you're looking at me like that.
Yeah, but you're missing the two losers that are left.
No, you lose. Okay, so let's just go through it. Youngstown State plays RMU. The loser of that game goes into the losers game.
Yes.
And Oakland plays UIC. Loser of that game goes. So those 2 teams play each other.
Okay.
At
So
6 o'clock.
those two teams are playing each other
At
for the
6.
third game at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Okay. So then there's a third game involved
Right,
on Thursday.
right.
All right.
3
so
on Thursday.
See, I thought it was going to be 2 on Thursday, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday.
3 on Thursday, 2 on Friday, and then
1 on Saturday.
1 on Saturday, maybe
or,
2.
Okay. That makes sense. All right. That makes sense.
Right.
So then the 2 games that would be left is the winner's bracket game, and then whoever loses the winner's bracket game takes on the winner of the loser's bracket. Right. So then by Friday you have 2 teams left.
Right.
Okay. I'm wondering if they're going to do the same thing in baseball.
Probably. I don't see another way to do it.
Well, you can do it. You can do it in a way of the 2 games, the 2 games, and then you have then that would be it. No, actually, that wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, you'd have to have the two original games, and then the loser game is the third game. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then you have 1 loser left, 2 winners left, and then you'd have the winner's bracket. Whoever loses that plays him. Okay, and so then we're done. We have 2 teams left. Okay, that makes far more sense. I think I went from A to B to G instead of A, B to C. I think I went a couple of steps.
You weren't listening to Jackson 5, ABC. Come on.
Yeah, well, I wasn't a big fan of Tito. I'll be honest with you. I mean,
everybody loves Tito.
Jermaine was okay. Tito was kind of,
You be Tito. I'll be. Yeah. Remember Rush Hour? I'm Tito.
330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. Salem doubled up on Streetsboro, up in Streetsboro, 6-3. By the way, that complex, holy smokes, is that area gorgeous.
It is.
And it's relatively new on the R end of Streetsboro. If you're driving up 14, before you get into the craziness called I-480, it's on our end, the Berlin Lake end of Streetsboro. They have I would say it's, within the last 6 years that K through 12 building was put in?
I went there, last time I was there was in 16.
Yeah.
And for basketball,
yeah.
And it was new. It was brand new.
Okay. So 5 years. 5 or 6 years, and that facility is absolutely gorgeous. The building is gorgeous. The football stadium is gorgeous. The baseball complex with a softball field is absolutely gorgeous. It's just you look at this and you're like, okay.
And Salem went and wrecked the party.
Yes, they did.
I love it.
Yes, they did. Riley Troy, 15 punch-outs, and she also did damage at the plate with a couple of hits.
If she pitches like that against Canfield,
this could be interesting.
They have a chance.
Yeah, this could be interesting. Now, Canfield is obviously the 2, and they jumped into Marlington's district, which I'm still kind of wondering why you did that. But, then again, we sat back for weeks, and said, why would JFK jump into McDonald's thing in basketball?
They knew something.
And they knew something. So clearly maybe Canfield softball team and South Range's baseball team knows a little something about their opponent or their what could be their opponent in the district title.
That's the Hubbard bracket, right?
That is the Hubbard bracket.
Well, maybe they just didn't want to go all the way to Jefferson, too.
Well, that could be the case, too. I mean, I don't think anyone would want to drive up to Ashtabula County,
Hard
but
pass on that.
yeah, that's kind
Not
of
that there's anything wrong with it. It's just a long drive.
It's a long drive. Yeah, absolutely.
Jefferson's a great place. We love it. We love that they're part of the family.
But it's a long drive.
It's a long drive.
And I mean, who knows? Maybe some kids get motion sickness or get a little sick when they're driving.
Bray was a little bit farther out there than I expected. I thought, oh, this will be like a half an hour drive. It'll be fine. No. It took us like 45 minutes to get there.
Yeah, it's a haul to get up there. But it's beautiful up there.
It is. It's
that's
nice
another
place.
That's another place that got really gorgeous with their school.
One of the things that I think there's a feather in their cap hosting districts is they have their own little batting cage right behind the dugout, so people can go and warm up behind the dugout.
Nice.
If you're going to be put you in the next inning and you're on the bench, you can go and hit in the cages.
There you go.
So.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. Cardinal Mooney got a victory over Liberty. They started out a little slow. I mean, I'm going to be honest. It was 4-3 going into the bottom of the fifth inning. Mooney was up 4-3, and you're like, this is a little.
And the longer you let teams stick around, the more that pressure sits in.
Yeah, but then Mooney said, we've had enough of this, and they scored 8 runs in the bottom of the fifth.
I think it was Elena Scavina that sparked that fifth inning with a home run.
Yeah.
And then everything else just kind of steamrolled.
Well, she and Francis also homered. Francis drove in 4. Scavina drove in 2. Raymer drove in 2 as well. Mooney gets a 12-4 victory. And Mooney gets, who do they get on Thursday? They're going to go to Gilmore Academy. Yeah.
They're at the bottom of that bracket. So it'll be 6 versus 7.
Yeah, they're going to go to Gilmore Academy.
I love the duo that Elena Scavina and Elena Francis are. I mean, when one of them's pitching, the other one's catching, and then they have to, they'll switch places. It's the chemistry they have with each other, and the fact that they don't have to really separate from each other when one's in the circle and the other one's behind the plate. It makes Mooney very dangerous because they can just be like, "Hey, I'm not feeling it. Can you just?"
Yeah.
Switch spots with me.
Yeah, let's switch spots and let's see if we can do things a little bit better here. So Mooney will go up to Gilmore Academy to take on that team, and
Gilmore's good. They were competitive with Ursuline on Monday. They pitched really well. They had a no-hitter going against Ursuline through 4 innings, and they just couldn't get offense going against Ursuline's pitching.
Yeah, bring plenty of Grey Poupon. Be a snob when you go up there.
Yes.
Yeah. Pardon me.
Pinkies up.
Yeah. Put the pinky up when you're swinging your bat. Yeah. Pardon me, sir. Do you happen to have any Grey Poupon? Well, we do. Springfield and South Range, that warms your heart. That is going to be your sectional title game, courtesy of Abby Joseph, who punched out 14, allowed just 2 hits. Springfield gets a 9-0 victory against Conneaut.
Yeah, it was impressive. And they didn't, because Springfield's, I believe, the 10 or 11, somewhere around there, seed, and they were playing Conneaut the 23. They threw Abby Joseph instead of Madison Lesnack, kept Lesnack fresh, and I'm sure she'll get the start tomorrow against South Range. And they have 2 pitchers they can trust, and they decided to use the one that has a little bit less innings pitched through her in game 1, and now they'll probably put their more experienced pitcher in against the Raiders.
If there is one thing that Springfield's going to have to work on before Thursday, they committed 3 errors in this game, and you can sit back and say, "Hey, we won the game." Well, look, long term, you can't give an extra inning to a team like South Range. You're going to be asking for a lot of trouble.
I think in the tournament time, it's not just about the errors; it's about the time that you commit the errors. I mean, if you commit the error with the bases clear and 2 outs, and you can come back from that. But if you give the leadoff hitter an error, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there with a runner on second because you overthrew first base with nobody out, then that inning can get really dangerous really quick.
Oh, sure.
So timing of errors is almost just as important as how many errors you.
Yeah, but you certainly, if you get an error with 2 outs, this is my favorite saying in baseball, softball, and both sports. Don't let a snowflake turn into an avalanche.
Right.
And
You
this
got to
is
bounce
where,
back from it, but
yeah.
at least if you do it, it's like, okay, you still can focus on the hitter. You don't have to really worry about the base runner.
Yep. All right, so Division 3 on Thursday, it looks like this. Springfield will be at South Range. Kirtland will be at Waterloo. Garrettsville Garfield will visit Champion.
That game, by the way, the champion game has been pushed to Friday. That's going to be played on the 14th.
Oh, okay. All right. Mooney will visit Gilmore Academy. Grand Valley is at Ursuline. That game will be played at McEwen Park because, well, Farmers National Bank Field is being used right now for the Horizon League Championships.
It's occupado.
Yes. Burton Berkshire will visit Spy Valley. Rootstown is at Columbiana, and Newton Falls will visit Crestview. All of those games will start at 5 o'clock. And no disrespect to Rootstown and Newton Falls, I want the Clippers and Rebels to win that game so they can play each other in a district semifinal game. And those that are fans of these two schools can now finally look and say, how come we're not doing this more often in every sport?
Right. And
At least you would hope.
Looking at that matchup right now, man, that would be fun. I would give the edge a little bit to Columbiana right now. I think they have a little bit more of a balanced lineup on offense, a little bit more people that can do damage. The games that I've been to, it's been, really maybe 4 or 5 hitters in Crestview's lineup that can really, really hurt you at any given time. Columbiana 1 through 9. I mean, someone can come up and have a good day. I've seen Cessna Stoy, who's one of their seniors, who hits, well, in the game that I was in, hit in the 9 spot. And she had 4 RBIs on the day. So their lineup a little bit more deep, but both the pitching staffs are incredible. I would imagine it would be a low-scoring affair. They both have some players with some serious pop in Mackenzie Gamble, Torrey Long, and then Carson Moore and Caden Sutton for Crestview. It would be a fun game. I'm looking forward to it if both teams take care of business.
Now, Columbiana yesterday, they went to the river, went across the Knoll Bridge, and checked in at Oak Glen High School, which is the equivalent of an East Liverpool, hence the big rivalry. Or I don't even know if they still play each other. They used to. The two teams separated by the Ohio River. Oak Glen would play East Liverpool in practically every sport. I don't know if that still remains. But anyway, Columbiana took a trip to West Virginia, and they wound up losing to Oak Glen. Oak Glen scored 2 times in the bottom of the 7th inning. They were down 5-4. They turn around. They get the victory. In the game, though, Columbiana committed 6 errors. Mackenzie Gamble wound up losing the game, punched out 9, walked 2. She also helped herself out at the plates. Hang on a second. Let me backtrack. No, she didn't. It was more Hitchcock than anything else. But again, 6 errors in a game. That's not going to get it done. But it's a good experience, though. It almost did. But yeah, you gotta play.
Know.
You gotta tighten that defense up.
I wonder how many of those errors were in the 7th inning.
Yeah, I'd be curious on that.
I'm not looked that up, but it's a good tournament tune-up, and it's a good wake-up call.
Oh, absolutely,
hey, guys, can't do this in tournament time.
Yeah, exactly.
You do it against Oakland and West Virginia. Fine, we'll bounce back from it, but you can't do this come tournament time.
Yeah. Here's an interesting statistic. Matthews knocked off Bloomfield 18-0. This is the Bloomfield team that beat Leetonia. Matthews finished their league 16-0, and in every single game in their league this year, they went mercy roll on their opponents.
They're just head and shoulders above. That's why people are questioning their schedule, because they're playing teams that they're just head and shoulders above, 9 in and 9 out in their league. Now, you can't control your league, and you just go play the teams in front of you and do the best that you can. But that's one of the reasons why people are like, okay, Matthews, but can you prove it against the quality of competition you're going to see in the district semifinals and
it's interesting that their non-conference record is 5-4, which isn't exactly the best in the world, but I will stand up and say, look, I understand you can sit back and say, all right, the league may not be that impressive, and I think that there is an argument that it isn't. But if you're beating your 16 opponents and every game you're beating them by a mercy roll, you're a pretty damn good softball team.
We talk about this with college football. If a team's in a lower conference, but at the same time they're smacking them every time that they play, and they're never in a competitive game, they're never taking their foot off the gas, there's something to be said about that. Because even if you're in a conference with a bunch of teams that are worse than you, that tends to let the team kind of take the foot off the gas a little bit. You might see one of those games get competitive, but Matthews and the college football teams that we talk about, they don't let their foot off the gas. They drill every team they play, and they don't leave any doubt in anyone's mind who the best team in the conference is.
Yeah, Becca Landis, 11 strikeouts, no walks. She throws a no-hitter. They run rule their opponents in all 16 league games this year. By the way, Landis also had 3 hits to go along with pitching a no-hitter. So, gee, I wonder if she rode the bus or drove the bus. No, it was a home game. Never mind. I was thinking if the game was in Bloomfield, maybe she drove the bus from Bloomfield back to Matthews, given the fact she got 3 hits and pitched a no-hitter.
No, she did the ultimate savage thing, and she went to Bloomfield's bus and said, "I'll drive you home." Because you guys couldn't drive anybody home.
Nice. Yeah, you couldn't drive anybody home, so here, let me drive you home since you couldn't drive the ball anywhere. Wow, there's a savage move. All right, 330-886-0813. How big of stones would it be if a kid in baseball sat back and threw a no-hitter on his home diamond, and then turn around and had the balls to go to the coach and say, "Hey, coach, if you don't mind, I'll drive the bus home since you guys couldn't drive anything off of me."
I don't think he'd leave the bus.
That's just wrong. I mean, that's some confidence, but man, that's wrong. Ooh.
That's when the shades drop down.
Yeah.
Bump, and the beat drops.
That's just, that's not good. Not good. West Branch got a no-hitter as well. It's 6-inning no-hitter. Jordan Anderson punched out 11, didn't issue a walk. West Branch did commit an error, though, so there was no perfect game.
That stinks.
But an 11-0 victory for West Branch in the D2 sectionals. They will play in the D2 against the winner of Perry and West Geauga. Don't know who won that game. I'll have to look.
Did the MLB, the last guy that threw no hitter? Right? I mean, there's been so many of them on the track. He had a perfect game except for the drop third strike.
Yes. Yep. That's it's unfortunate.
I was looking at the box score and I saw no errors, no walks, no hit by, and I'm like, how did he lose a perfect game? And wait a minute, drop third strike. Oh man.
Yeah. And then you had these people that once that happened, all of the non-baseball people started, well, there shouldn't even be a rule in existence. If the catcher drops the third strike, who cares? The guy still struck out. No. Rule books make a good Christmas gift, by the way.
Otherwise, the catcher just be like, you know what?
Yeah, I'm just, you know what? I'm
Strike three, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm gonna let the ball hit the umpire, and I'm just gonna let it go right by me.
And I think a lot of people just do that to you anyway, right?
Pretty much, yeah. You know, I don't want to put any ideas into people's heads, but you know.
Well, you're done umpiring, right? Well, you got probably one more because you're not doing a tournament, are you?
I have. What is today? Today's Wednesday?
Yeah.
I have 4 more games.
Really?
I'm loaded this week.
All right.
I am.
You anywhere tonight?
I have a game tonight,
You won't divulge
tomorrow,
where you are?
Friday, and Saturday.
Awesome. Not doing any tournament games, right?
No. I'm not doing any tournament games.
You
I
weren't
did
invited.
my 3rd varsity game of the season on Monday up at Eastwood, Western Reserve, playing Mineral Ridge. That was a good game.
Now, like this for peel behind the curtain.
Yes.
How are umpires picked for tournament games?
They are voted on.
Voted on by coaches?
They're voted on by their peers.
Their peers.
Yeah.
So, like, if you worked with this guy, and do you get a vote in that? Do you get
I
a
did.
vote?
I did a vote. Now, the only people that were eligible for that are the Class 1 umpires.
Oh, there's classes.
Class 1 is you're now able to consistently do varsity games. Class 2 is you're able to do freshman games, JV games, and you can do varsity games, but you can only do so many varsity games.
So you're class
I'm
2.
Class 2. I have done 3 varsity games. I will have a 4th varsity game before the end of the regular season.
What's the limit for class 2?
I believe 4 is 4 or 5 is the limit. I honestly don't know, but if I were to guess, 4 or 5 would be the absolute.
So did you
limit.
get to work with any class 1 guys though, or did they all work together?
No, you have to. If you're working in a varsity game, it must be with a class 1 guy.
Oh.
Yeah. So
and does experience get you into class 1, or does
you have to? And I'm in the process of going from class 2 to class 1. You have to have umpired 2 games with a class 1 official grading you during those 2 games, and then they write that stuff down, and then you write your name and address, and then send it to my supervisor, and then the supervisor sends it to Columbus, and then I have to take a test, and I have to get 80% on the test, and if I can get 80% on the test, then I become a class 1 umpire, and then once you become a class 1 umpire, it's not like you're going to be doing every single varsity game. You will be sprinkled in with some JV games and whatnot, but you are eligible then to be on the ballot to go be a participant for the tournaments.
same kind of deal for basketball?
I don't know.
Other sports?
I honestly don't know. But I know that it's a pretty cool deal to get some tournament games because it's not voted on by the coaches. It's voted on by the umpires. So if they think that you're cutting the mustard, then you get some pretty cool games.
Does that differ when it gets to regionals?
I think that's more of an OHSAA thing at that point. But I know that, and these guys, they might work locally in the sectionals, but come the district, regionals, and the state, they're going to want you to go somewhere.
There might be some
away.
local guys doing regionals this year, well, at least for softball, because the Massillon region is now moved to Youngstown State Softball Complex.
Yeah, there's always a couple of our umpires doing regional and state state games, and once you get past, I think once you get past the districts, that's when the OHSAA takes over and says, okay, let's start picking some guys, and that normally gets into the ones that have had a lot of tournament experience locally, and then you get invited by the OHSAA, and then when you get to the regionals, you're not going to be umpiring the local games. You're going to wind up umpiring.
So they'll move you.
They're going to move you into another area where you're not going to see your local teams.
So the YSU regional will probably have unlocal umpires.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Most definitely they will. Yeah, that's how they normally do it. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, so if you didn't know, the winner of the Canfield district that's playing at YSU and the Leavittsburg district will play each other in regional games in YSU instead of in Massillon, Washington.
Okay. Well, that kind of makes sense.
I think Massillon was already hosting the district for D1, and they didn't want to host both or something like that.
Gotcha.
So they just decided to move it to Youngstown State.
Well, that makes sense.
And which it's a home game for Ursuline, which is kind of like, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a great place to play a softball game. So you kind of move on and
well, assuming Ursuline
has
gets
to
there.
get there. Which, if they didn't, I would be extremely shocked.
I think a lot of us would probably be looking at this going, okay, this is interesting.
Right. But softball, anything can happen. You have one bad inning.
Yeah.
Like we said in the top of the show, you have one bad inning, and all of a sudden you're down by 5 or 6, and you're like.
Just like in any sport, if you have one bad day or, that that's where luck is involved.
And let's be honest, it's a lot easier to have one bad inning in a baseball softball game than it is to all of a sudden just not play well in a basketball game for 2 quarters.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So it's just, there's so much more fickleness in baseball softball that you have to really be on your guard to come tournament time.
No, I agree with that because, again, if you have a really bad inning, especially early on, and you get put behind the 8 ball, oh boy, that's tough. That's a tough hill to climb. Yeah, it definitely is. We're going to take a time out because there were some baseball games that were played as we're in the final week of the regular season, which is
teams are squeezing
pretty
games
cool.
in because we missed last week, so there's a lot of baseball.
And the good news is, and we'll get clearance from a golf standpoint when we have Brian Tolnar on in 20 minutes, but the weather is absolutely beautiful in terms of it's not raining, but it's still too damn cold.
It's still in the 60s, which is like, but you don't need a winter jacket, which I'm like,
I umpired yesterday in Poland, and I
it got
damn near
windy
froze.
last night.
Yeah, it was.
In
it was
Leavittsburg, it got windy, which it wasn't. It was still like 55, 50, 53, 55.
Okay.
But that plus wind is cold.
Yeah, it was maybe 51 in Poland, and it was windy, and the sun. I think the sun came out most of the game, but when it wasn't out and it was windy, oh my God, was it cold!
It's always colder at the fields because there's nothing blocking that way.
Yeah, that just
like South Range fields. I swear to God, there's a jet stream. Because no matter how nice the day is, you go to South Range, all of a sudden your wind is blowing like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all the semis that are on 46 that are producing
it's the traffic.
It's producing all the wind. 330-886-0813. Mother Nature and I have a love-hate relationship right now. Yes, I like the sun, but can you boost the temperature about 15 degrees? Because this 50 stuff is
Ron's
garbage.
To get greedy.
No, listen, I'm
not raining. We're good.
I'm glad that it's not raining. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy for that. But can we please move the temperature into the high 60s, low 70s, so I don't have to wear winter gear? That's just disgusting. All right, we're back in a bit. It's a Wednesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point. Ron Potesta with you alongside the Natalie clad Anthony Hartwig. in his orange Tennessee gear.
Texas A&M today in the SEC tournament. So
is this the opening round, or
technically there was one game yesterday between the 12 and 13. SEC, everyone gets into the tournament.
Okay.
And it's not double elimination. It's straight up win and you go to the next round.
Wait a second. There's 14 teams in the SEC.
13 for softball because Vanderbilt doesn't have a softball.
Vanderbilt does not have softball. Mm-mm. That's a little surprising. All right.
13 teams, 2 teams play on day 1, and then the rest of them play on day 2, and you win and you move on. You lose and you're done. So,
all right, we'll see some lose and you go home when the baseball tournament starts next week. But unfinished business this week.
We have some conference championships to hand out today.
Yeah, the first one. Hey, Salem's having a magical year. And congratulations to the Quakers.
Get that Quaker hat out and give it a little tip.
Absolutely. They go to Beloit. They knock off West Branch 8-2. Wilms gets the victory. More importantly, Salem gets to celebrate a league championship. Just an outstanding season to this point for the Quakers, and hopefully better, even better things to come for Salem. But man, they're just continuing to impress. They really are. Sir?
So I just did an emergency press conference. We have been updated through the OHSAA that our games for softball and baseball are now being charged $100 a piece for us to cover and do live or delayed. So with that being said, just to update everybody that's watching this show right now, we will be incorporating our paywall that we have done through the football season as well as the basketball season. It'll be $9.99 per day for like a day like today. We have 5 games, so essentially you're paying $2 a game to get those games. We've also been alerted that it's $10 a ticket to get into a district tournament game now. So for that price, and obviously we want you to get out and support these student athletes as much as you can. But just another situation that the OHSAA continues to rake in money, where last year these games were free to get into in the district as well as free to no charge to broadcast and stream.
Just out of curiosity, DJ, and I don't know if you can answer this or not, sectional tournaments, are they free?
They were.
No, I mean this year, because you just said the district tournaments are $10. Are the sectionals the sectionals with the district where it's $10 to get in?
They can change the price of the ticket however they wish, but I think they've always charged to get into sectional games.
Okay.
I know, like for instance, and this is just pulling it out of thin air, South Range will like rope off their softball field,
right?
And there's only one entrance to get in, so. They've never charged, though, for districts before. This is brand new, and it's interesting. It's very interesting, given the state of we didn't have a season last year, and it's not exactly a money-making sport. It's
a non-revenue sport because you don't charge money to go to a regular season game.
Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating. I mean, from the business standpoint, I see it. It's a little bit frustrating because I feel like the goalposts were moved on us because we went two days. Without this, we were excited and the opportunity. We had great viewership, and we had 4,000 people tune in yesterday for 5 games. Over the course of 5 playoff games. So,
yeah.
It's not something we want to do, and right now to be fully transparent, we're working on something from a subscription model that'll cost the consumer less for this football season to debut during the football season. What that looks like, we don't know yet. We don't want to unveil too much. But it's going to be less than $9.99 a night, and because we feel that we owe it to our fans, and especially in an economy where people don't have as much as necessarily they've had in the past. We owe it to our fans to be able to give them a value of whether it's $9.99 a week or $9.99 a month or whatever that is. We're looking at opportunities to make it a little bit of a less of a burden on the consumer. That is a casual or even a big time sports viewer.
Yeah, that's
it's frustrating. Like it
is. It's frustrating, and I mean, now my mind is going forward to regionals and states. I mean, if you're charging $10 for a district ticket,
regionals for us is going to be $150 to cover one game. State is $300, I believe. I believe that's the price. But I mean, I get it, and also there's the kind of asterisk that, oh, by the way, if one of our partners is doing the game, you don't get to do the game. Which, okay, I get it. We don't really run into them too often. But if that happens, rest assured we're doing audio. And if it's like $80 for audio. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And at this point, people are like, well, why don't you just go get sponsors? You did that before. We're a week in to the softball. We don't have those trees that just have magic sponsors that pull off. And if there are sponsors out there that want to do that, we're absolutely willing to work with them. But that's just not how it works.
And the fact that if this would have been done 3 weeks before the tournament started, and we had an idea or we had a starting point where you sit back and go, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're giving you X amount of time to get your ducks in a row, and okay, no problem. But you're doing this 3 days into a tournament, and you didn't even give anyone an opportunity to prepare for any of this. You're throwing this out 3 days after a tournament started and saying, oh, by the way, this is what we're doing. Wait a second. Why didn't you say this on Monday at the very latest? Or more importantly, why couldn't you have said this weeks ago to give us an opportunity to be prepared for this? That's the thing that bothers me more than anything else about this decision.
I think what bothers me is what changed between last year and this year, or last year and the year before. Why all of a sudden is it we're putting a $100 fee on it? It just, again, not that I want to play the victim card here, because we're certainly not. We're a business, and there is a cost to business. But come on. This is a non-revenue generating sport. We're covering it because nobody else can. They just can't. It's not like they're going to send crews from Columbus up to South Range High School to cover these games. We know they're not. So we're actually doing you a service by promoting your product. This is your tournament. We're promoting your product. I mean, our sponsors, we don't get sponsors just for the tournament. We get sponsors, right now, we're getting sponsors from the annual standpoint. So they want to cover all of our games. And, I get it. I understand it. But at the end of the day, man, even if they gave it to us 3 weeks ago, because I thought through that too. Is it frustrating that they sprung it on us now? Absolutely. But at the same time, it's absolutely frustrating that in the first place, why are they charging?
Right.
Why all of a sudden does it cost the media money, and then you're going to have your hand out for the consumer as well? If there's 100 people at a baseball game, it's $1,000. It's $1,000.
I just don't understand. You're going from the fan standpoint. You're going from ground zero for the whole season. You can go walk into the ballpark and not pay anything in the regular season, and then all of a sudden, come tournament time, well, we're going to have to charge you some money. Wait a second. You didn't charge me any money during the regular season. Why the hell am I going to be paying for tournament games? And if I'm paying $10 for a district game, how much do I have to pay if my team that I follow happens to go to a regional tournament? And how much do I have to pay for this team if this team is blessed enough to go to a state tournament? Are you going to be charging more for a state tournament than a district tournament because, well, the competition's a little bit better in the state tournament, and it's I don't understand a lot of this. It just doesn't make any sense at all from a consumer standpoint, and it damn sure doesn't make any sense from a business standpoint, because you're doing this 3 days after the tournament started instead of 3 weeks ago, where you could have said, hey, this is our business model, this is what we're going to do, and you have 3 weeks to get sponsors and whatnot. It's a BS move. All the way around, it's a BS move. I'm sorry. It is.
I just don't, again, from a standpoint of, the reason a lot of people, and this is a huge assumption, the reason a lot of people feel that they canceled the season last year because of Corona was because there wasn't a whole bunch of money at the end of the tunnel. And it gave them a little bit more time to focus on getting football together and basketball. And listen, again, business, I get it. But now you can't turn around and be like, well, wait a minute, we're going to charge more. Because how often have we heard, and again, 100 times over, we get it. Everybody had to deal with Corona in their own way. They're getting a couple $1 million back from the CARES Act that they don't have to pay taxes on. They don't have to reimburse. They don't have to do. They're getting it. It's basically a grant, right? But also, how often are we going to hear, well, we had a year that, we had to get. They didn't have to do anything. Like, they didn't give up football. They gave up the state tournament, 2 games? 3 games? Something like that? They got their money. They got the better portion of what they usually get during basketball. Now, they gave up wrestling, and they gave up baseball and softball and track. That's it. Show me where outside of limitations during football, they really were hurting this year, because that's it. They still have 2 buildings in Columbus that they own. Usually, from a business perspective, when you have problems financially, you start liquidating. They have 17 people that work for them. They hired consultants to come in, almost $1 million in fees for consultant fees. So who's paying for that? And I can tell you right now, it's the media and it's the consumer. And the frustration is really starting to build, because now they're sitting there saying, well, we had to go through Corona. Everybody did. The guy that lost his job, your neighbor that lost their job, the person who lost their parent or lost, a loved one. Listen, it sucked. It was terrible. But now we're getting out of it, and we're going to sit there and cry poor from Columbus. I'm having a hard time buying this one, Ronnie. I'm really having a hard time.
I just, the thing that, and I'll repeat, the thing that bothers me the most is, if you're going to do this, I'm not on board with doing it, but if you're going to do this, why the hell did you do this 3 days into the tournament instead of giving everyone 3 weeks or however long prior to the tournament to say, okay, this is our model, this is what we're going to do, get your ducks in a row, and you have an opportunity to recoup whatever you're going to have to spend with advertising. Now you're telling everyone, oh, by the way, we're changing the rules in the middle of the game. It doesn't sit well. I don't like this. This
will probably cost us a couple of viewerships tonight. And listen, as a fan, that's what we try to run this place as a fan. From a fan's perspective, why in God's green earth would you tune in for sectionals at this point? I mean, we saw some of the scores. There was a 20-2 last night. You look at it's bad. It's bad for everybody, because you got a 20 seed playing a 1 seed or whatever that is.
You might get 2 or 3 competitive games in a sectional.
What do you think is going to happen? Right. Why would you pay $10, or let's say you have a family of 4? Why are you paying $40 to go see that game, other than your son or daughter plays in it? That's it. That's the only thing. I mean, if they were worth their weight in salt, I would say, okay, sectionals are free, districts will charge you $100. I can get behind that, because everybody gets excited about a district title. Everybody. Are you going for state title? Well, we got to get through districts first. That's the first thing they talk about. Then regionals, and then obviously state. But I don't see the value in sectionals being monetized, other than for a cash grab. And I'd be interested to have an athletic director on that is maybe rubbed the wrong way on this, and ask them, how much money did you make last night? How much money are you shipping to the OHSAA because of the sectional cost? And then from a school standpoint, you get none of that.
No.
Zero.
The schools that are hosting districts get none of that.
None of that. It's costing you to, for the umpires, obviously, for the lines, for scorekeepers, for all this stuff. It's costing you money, and they're going to sit there and take tickets, and there it goes, right out the window. It's just not. It's not. I hate to say it's not fair, but it's not fair. It's not right.
You have to pay more to get into district games at YSU than you do to get into the Horizon League tournament there this weekend.
And there's
How much is the Horizon League
Just
tournament?
$5 parking. There's no admission fee.
How crazy is that?
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of people that want to see Ursuline play. I mean, they are the hype right now, right?
Right.
And it's going to cost you more money to go watch Ursuline high school, and they're not getting the money than it is to watch like scholarship athletes at Division I level. That's crazy to me. That's absolutely asinine. And I think that at some point, the schools have to figure out that the tail's wagging the dog here. Because if everybody stands up and says, listen, what are they going to do if we all leave? There's nothing. There is no OHSAA if there's no schools to govern. There's no athletics to govern. What are they going to do? At some point, somebody's got to stand up and be like, enough's enough. We're tired of this. So, and listen, I love Tim Street to death. He's a great communicator. He's, just a great guy overall. He's in a tough spot here. He's a very tough spot here because I'm sure we are one of the premier networks that do cover a ton of games in volume. However, there's going to be some questions from radio stations, especially down south to the west of us, in the Cleveland area that are covering these teams, and they go, wait. What's this about? So.
Yeah, that's. I don't envy Tim's position right now because he's gonna have to answer a lot of questions.
He probably wasn't in the decision making process.
Well, no, I mean,
he's
hey,
this is what we're doing. Deal with it.
and he's the mouthpiece of the OHSAA, and he does a damn good job doing that. And Lord knows we've had him on a number of times through the years, and he's explained everything thoroughly, and he doesn't leave any stone unturned when we ask him for stuff. But that's a tough situation to be in, and I'm sure he's going to be extremely busy today. Maybe we can get him on tomorrow or Friday because we got questions.
$100 an appearance.
Yeah, we get questions for sure. Wow.
So to the crux of it, if you're just joining, $9.99 for is the paywall per night. And you get any game that we have on there that is playoff. We are not charging for the regular season. So if a team goes back, like East Palestine's out of the tournament now, they have a game tonight and I think Friday. You will not be charged for that. You'll still have access to it as you regularly would, but the paywall will give you access to every single game that we have from a playoff coverage in that particular night. So $9.99 gets you in, and you can enjoy any. And the same goes for baseball. So if we have 14 baseball games on in one night, you're entitled to all of them. So hopefully we think it's fair, from our standpoint. We're just trying to break even with this. We did it for basketball, thankfully. We had a couple teams with some nice runs, but we got to the point where it was tight. It was tight for basketball, and you never want to root for them to lose, but you start hoping they play each other, so that way it saves you a couple $100. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. I hate to just hop on like this, but got to make sure that the viewers know. So.
Yeah, these are weird times. This is wow.
They don't have to be.
No, they don't have to be. You're right. It's
greedy times. Is it
just
what I'm looking at? It's greedy times.
It's disappointing because the tournament started on Monday, and now here we are, day 3 of the tournaments, and now you're going to throw this.
Well, you know what they're going to say.
It's opportunistic, is what it is.
You know what they're going to say. They're going to say that these were a week ago, 4 weeks ago. These were agreed upon. But what they gave us, the link that they provided us, after looking at it, were last year's rates. So it just made it look like they weren't changing the rates on us. And then all of a sudden they come out with the 2020, 2021 rates, and it's like, wait a minute, where was this? Where's this been? So it's frustrating. It's definitely a miscommunication of magnitude, because if you look at the game Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday today, we have $1,600 already gone. So That's a check that we'll write at the end of the week to the OHSA for 16 plus whatever we have on Thursday and Friday, and obviously if there's games on Saturday. So frustrating from a business standpoint. I get it from a business standpoint, but the communication could have been a lot more crystal clear. It's about as clear as mud right now. So
it's about as clear as a London foggy morning.
Yeah.
I
mean, if the NFL can do it, with the way they announce stuff with their teams today, I thought they did a fantastic job.
Right.
With that. They released it. They were clear. They put it on their sites. They put it on their media outlets, their social media. And we're looking at a PDF still. Like it's 1996. And it's just like, hey, figure it out and write us a check for whatever you think it is. Wait a minute. So, all right.
Good times.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. All right. We'll take a timeout on that note. On the other side, we'll catch up and play some golf with. Not literally play golf because
we could.
The way I'm playing golf, I'd probably slice one hit off the brick wall, put it up into places that you don't want to see in the studio. Brian Tolnar will be coming up next. We'll talk some golf, talk Mill Creek, and talk about the latest stop on the PGA Tour. That's all coming up. Stick around. It's Wednesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Let's talk some golf. Indeed. Brian Tolnar from Mill Creek joining us as he does every Wednesday in the 1 o'clock hour. Brian, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing awesome. We're reopened after a little hiatus, a bump in the road with some flooding that we had here. It took place on Sunday, closed us down on Monday and Sunday and Tuesday and up until about noon today. So we've got the equipment back out, cutting, and life is good again. I couldn't help but listen to the earlier segments with DJ from Enforcement News. I'm going to give him some good news. He was here Saturday to get club fitted for some irons. His irons are in the pro shop. So, DJ, if you're listening, we've got your irons. The rest of it should be in the rest of this week. So, fast turnaround by Callaway Golf.
Repeat that real quick because I just saw him walk back to his desk, so he might want to hear that one more time.
DJ, if you're listening, he was here getting fitted for some irons on Saturday at our Callaway Demo Day in some woods. His irons are officially have walked through the door. Was unwrapping them when he was sharing some bad news on the air, and I'm going to give him some good news. As golf always is, we've carried the mantle of fun for the past year, and we'll continue to do that. So, DJ Yoakley, your irons have arrived.
There you go.
So all good.
That'll make the day a little bit better for DJ, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So what, other than Mother Nature now giving us some great, in terms of sunny weather, I'm still a little peeved that we're not where we should be temperature-wise. But it is getting a little bit better in terms of we got sun instead of liquid sunshine. Tell everyone how fast the course dried off and how busy you guys are with that bright yellow, orange, a little light in the sky, sprucing things up in the area.
I'll tell you what, it means a difference when you're looking out your window and you're seeing sun as opposed to some rain, but we're back in action. We did have a little misstep there with Mother Nature. Last week was not very kind to us. Not only were the temperatures low, but we took on a ton of rain in the window, and then Sunday we had it for about 15 hours straight. So when that happens, I come back in Sunday evening to cover some of the flowers on the field house because we were afraid with some of the frost. We just put some new flowers in. I stopped in about 5:30, 6 o'clock after we had shut the facility down at about 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, and the water was coming over from East Golf across West Golf back onto the golf course, so I knew Monday was not going to be fun. By the time it stopped raining at like 10:30 and come in the next morning, and we were pretty much flooded out. Not as bad as I've seen it. We had some issues, I want to say 4 years ago and 2 years ago. But with all the new drainage, everything's basically drained off to the point where when it starts to go down and subside over on East Golf, then the golf course can fully drain itself out. So dry enough to the point where we've got the greens mowers are out, the fairways are cut, the tees are cut, the rough is a little thick right now. Hopefully the next 2 or 3 days we'll be able to knock some of that down before the weekend gets here. But of course, made it through it okay, is in great shape. League play will begin this evening, so we're excited to have them back. We did get washed out on Monday and Tuesday's league, so to be able to recoup Wednesday is going to be positive. But maintenance staff sure has their hands filled this week with getting it to where it was when we finished up before last week. I joked with some customers on Saturday. I said we literally waited till May before we had to go cart path only because March we were off the pass. April it was bone dry. We were off the pass, and then as soon as May got here, we had to jump on those for a couple of days. So we'll be cart path only for a couple of days here, but we're hopeful and have our fingers crossed with a 10-day forecast that by the weekend we should be back to normal.
What are some things going on this weekend that people should get out for, and what are some things that Mill Creek has going on?
You know what? We have a lot on the docket. This is really a kickoff weekend for the Golf and Recreation Department. Last week we had our Callaway Demo Day. We do one of those once a month all through Labor Day. So we had ours on Saturday from 10 to 5. It was pretty popular despite some of the cold weather and the elements that Mother Nature threw at us. But this weekend we've got normal golf. We've got family fun nights back on Friday and Saturday evenings. We just started PGA Junior League. We had a practice here last evening. Our ladies' golf schools are back in action Thursday morning and Thursday evening. In addition to that, we have a disc golf tournament up at the Metro Parks Farm that our recreation department is going to be running. We've got youth soccer in both kids' leagues at the Par 3 course are running. We've got adult hockey, and we will also have wall soccer in our deck hockey arena up at the Wick Recreation area. So we're excited to get those going. We've got some other clinics and stuff scheduled for the rest of the summer when it comes to tennis and softball and volleyball and all of those fun things and co-ed softball as well. So we're excited with where we're headed. The boathouses are going to open here for the first time in a little over a year. Because of COVID last year, those will open up Memorial Day weekend. The splash pad will open up. We'll start construction hopefully very soon on our old warming house. It's going to now be an indoor rec facility. When that's all done, we'll have some locker rooms for deck hockey. We'll have a banquet room so we can host recreation events 12 months. We can host birthday parties. We'll have the batting cages, up and running. We'll also have a little food area in there as well, a new kitchen and with upgrades and equipment, and then our recreational offices will be in there along with our little team shop. So if you need to buy some sporting good needs, hopefully by Christmas we'll be up and ready there and be stocked and loaded. So a lot of exciting things happening, throughout the Metro Parks and a ton, especially when it comes to the golf and recreation department. So I'm excited to be a part of it and excited to bring some joy to people other than golf, because that's about what we all had to play last year. It's nice getting the other sports up and running. We've got a great team and a great crew of folks that work for us in the recreation department. So it's neat to be able to see some of the sports that they have rolled out this year, and some kayak races at the boat houses will be added to that as well. So something new, and doing a little Turkey Bowl football around Thanksgiving. So a lot of exciting stuff by our rec department, and it's going to continue to grow. We're talking about doing some flag football up here in-house in the future, maybe as early as this fall, if not the spring of next year. So we're excited to be able to start that and get the inner workings of that process going. In addition to that, we've got a myriad of other things that we'd like to do with some cornhole and cornhole tournaments. We just had a Gaga ball pit put in up at the Wick Recreation area by a Boy Scouts crew over the weekend, so we'll have that, some new recreational opportunity. I don't know too much about Gaga ball, but I heard it's very popular with the elementary kids, so we're excited to have that. And then what I'd like to see is some adult kickball up there, so stuff that I could go out and do beyond just playing golf and having a good time. So a lot of great things happening here, and we couldn't be excited to finally get the COVID handcuffs semi-off, and we've got one left to go, and we'll be ready to rock come Memorial Day.
Brian Tilnar from Mill Creek, and with the Mill Creek area, the Metro Park area, and I had my last COVID shots this past Friday. Had the typical reaction that most everyone has had to deal with, but long since passed. And I laminated my card, because I have a sneaking suspicion that card is going to be used at some point during the next year or so. What is the policy going to be over at the Metro Parks in terms of showing proof that someone has been vaccinated? Or is anyone able to do that with legal grounds, Brian?
You know what? Right now, our policies are basically stuck with what the CDC has out there. All indoor facilities here at the Metro Parks, any enclosed facilities, you have to have the mask. It is mandatory at this point. Now, like the policies and procedures last year, they're ever changing by the day, the week. It seems like. Right now, nothing is out there, to my knowledge, that you have to have a mask on or have your card on the grounds. Any outdoor recreation, as long as you're using your social distancing spacing. We haven't had an issue. Knock on wood, we've been one of the few facilities that has not had any repercussions of violations of any of these procedures. We take a lot of pride in the past year, not being on that list and doing things the right way when they're, sometimes unpopular. So, we try to do everything to keep people safe. We still have the stoppers in the cups. We don't have our ball washers out. We don't have our rakes in the bunkers. I do think that that's probably something that's going to be around the corner. It's probably sooner than later, hopefully sooner than later. But everything that we've done, common contact points, we're still sanitizing. We're still, wiping down golf carts and sanitizing them after each and every single round, pool carts included in that. So, we've done our due diligence on making sure that we provide a safe environment, and I think, last year certainly demonstrated that. Same goes for the restaurant with the spacing of tables, the limited capacities until they kick those up a notch, which I think is going to be soon, because I know New York and Pennsylvania, I think, have lifted a lion's share of those, and if not, they'll be lifted here in another week or so. So I would imagine Ohio would follow suit at some point, but definitely for the indoor buildings, limited capacities and what the CDC regulates for each one of our indoor buildings, from a number of participants and the number of occupants that you can have in there. But for us, we're extremely extremely happy that we have an outdoor venue, and it hasn't been much of an issue. And people have been, doing and being very vigilant to making sure that all our rules are applied, and they're doing the right thing to ensure that everybody here is safe, please, and visitors and customers and so on down the line. So, the knock on wood, fingers crossed, we'll be, hopefully turning the corner here, and we'll be ready to go. But as of right now, doing our best to just follow what's out there and try to keep up on the situation. We've got a great HR department here at the Metro Parks. They basically have supplied us with any changes, which seems like every other day or sometimes on a daily basis as they roll out, and making sure that we're definitely in good communications and we're doing the right thing park wide. So we got a good crew, and they keep us in line, they keep us in check. So knock on wood, we won't have any issues going forward, and we'll be back to normal hopefully here very, very soon.
The YSU women's golf team is in action today in Columbus in the NCAA regionals. Got any update on how they're doing?
You know what? I haven't checked in. It's been a busy morning. It's been a busy couple days. Believe it or not, with the rain and stuff that's here. I know that Caitlin Shutt is our senior, has been playing extremely well. She's had a great career at YSU, and obviously she's finishing up here, and hopefully is going to be able to move on. The girls got a really good team, so they have a legitimate shot of hopefully being one of the teams that makes it to the final. When they do their final field. So, we're hoping for them. We're rooting for them. They certainly practice extremely hard when they're out here, making time to chip and putt, hit balls in the driving range, get some time on the golf course. So I know they're very, very dedicated to the program and what Nate Miklas has. I mean, he's an extraordinary coach. He's had some great talent the 7 years that I've returned back to Ohio. So it's been nice to watch. It's been nice to watch some of the freshmen who are now juniors and seniors really, holding their own and coming into fruition. So I think the sky's the limit for Nate and the girls there at YSU, and the same goes for the boys. We have a lot of the boys that are on the team are from, Boardman High School, so I got to watch them grow up here, as they played high school golf for 4 years, and now they're, sophomores and juniors on the team at Youngstown State. So they've got a good core. The girls have a good core. And the girls, definitely have a shot at being able to move on. And I think if they play well, they'll be in pretty good shape.
The last we saw via the Twitter account from YSU Women's Golf, they teed off an hour ago. And that's the last that we have seen, and the last that it's been updated from the YSU Women's Golf Twitter account. We'll keep everyone updated. Hopefully some good news on the horizon, no pun intended there. Let's go to the latest stop on the PGA Tour. The AT&T Byron Nelson. This will be at the TPC Craig Ranch, just outside of Dallas in McKinney, Texas. That is in the Metroplex. Brian, a lot of questions about this tournament. The first and foremost, in an event that Jason Kokrak has done well in. Jason Kokrak's not in this event. Now, this will be the second consecutive tournament that he is missing. I'm wondering if this is one of those situations. You got a major coming up next week in the PGA Championship. Do you spend 2 weeks on your own to get ready for the PGA Championship? I wonder if that's the case.
What time will tell. Definitely the last two venues, obviously, at the Valspar and the Copperhead. I think he finished runner-up or in third place there last year, 2 years ago when they hosted it, are certainly very, very good venues for Jason to play. You have to be long off the tee, and you have to be accurate, two things that his game certainly is suited for, as you go forward. To not see him in the field in one of those two, if not both of these, going into the PGA Championship is sort of a head-scratcher. Maybe it's an injury related. Maybe it's I have to work on something as we prepare to go to the PGA Championship. Not really sure what the thought process was, or have seen anything from his Twitter account saying that I'm going to be here or there, or I've got an injury or something. So, this is definitely a venue that you'd like to see him at, just because he's got great history there. Historically, has he played the week before a major? That I couldn't tell you. But definitely a venue that's built for his game, where you can bomb it. There's very little trouble. Being tree lined, and this golf course it's not easy, by any stretch, and any stretch of the nature of the game of golf. but I think a venue that was certainly well suited for his game. To see him not in there is sort of a head scratcher. There's no doubt.
All right, so let's handicap this AT&T Byron Nelson. This is the last PGA event prior to the second major of the season, the PGA Championship. That would be the in a lot of people's minds, the distant fourth of the four majors on the PGA Tour. The PGA Championship would be a distant fourth to the British Open, the U.S. Open, and the Masters, not necessarily in that order, by the way. But this is the last event prior to the second major of the season. Who are we looking at in terms of your top five and your sleepers?
Well, I think any time that you go to a facility like TPC at Craig Ranch, there's a couple things that come in mind. A venue that's been synonymous with, the PGA Tour and some great events. They host the Korn Ferry Tour Championship. They host the Dallas Open. It looks like an Ohio golf course in Texas. Tom Weiskopf obviously is the designer. He's an Ohio native. He played on the golf team with Jack Nicklaus at Ohio State. Caught the tail end of his career. So there's no question why it looks like a golf course, from Ohio standards compared to what you would normally see in Texas, being brown and firm. You're going to see the facility being lush and green. It's very long. Comes in a little over 7,400 yards. It's normally a par 72. They're going to play it at a par 71 this week. Features very wide fairways. It has what they call the Roulette Creek that runs through it. It crosses over on 14 of the 18 holes, so you want to avoid that, whether you're hitting a shot into the green or you're hitting a shot off the tee. But fairways are very, very generous. One of the things that Tom Weiskopf is noted for is having tighter fairways, with the exception of this property. So being that the fairways are a little bit generous, there's really no giant trees that block your view, and they've got some smaller trees on the property that you could, basically play your way around or hit over. Definitely one of the hardest courses in Texas. I think that really puts a limit on who we have this week. So if we start off with some of the sleepers, I'm going to go with Daniel Berger, a four-time PGA Tour winner. His latest victories was at the AT&T Pebble Beach, so maybe there's something in common, being that AT&T sponsors the Byron Nelson. He's really struggled with his iron game, but I think having that hold him back a little bit. He's really good off the tee. So he's going to put himself in position, and if he hits some greens, I think he could be in pretty good shape, and it's one of the reasons why we have him in our sleeper pick this week. Last week's sleeper pick did pretty well. Rory ended up winning, so we've got some luck there. Hopefully they'll do the same for Daniel Berger. Coming in at number 5, the Englishman with 6 wins on the European Tour between 2015 and 2020, with exception of 2016 where he won twice. I think Matthew Fitzpatrick, I think, is certainly suited for here. Hits a lot of fairways, hits a lot of greens. If he gets his putter going, I think it could be his week. Coming in at number 4, I'm going with the home player, Jordan Spieth. Always plays well in Texas. It's a home game for him. He's going to have some home-cooked meals. He's going to sleep in his own bed this week. I think, there's nobody that plays Texas courses better than Texas players. The reason I say that is you have to deal with a number of wind conditions when you get down in Texas. You got to be able to flight your ball low from time to time when it picks up. Jordan has that in his game. He's been playing, in those conditions his entire life. So I think it's a huge, huge advantage for him. So he's our number 4 pick this week. Coming in at number 3, always a guy that plays well in Texas. It certainly has no ties to Texas, but he has a low ball flight, which is something that you need. He's very steady from fairway to green, and a guy that can get hot putting, Matt Kuchar. Probably a name that's not in too many rosters this week, but I think with his steady play in Texas, he's going to have a good week. Coming in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Sam Burns, the 2018 Valspar champion winner, number 44 on the money list. He's had a strong couple of weeks, LSU grad, so he knows how to play tough, firm, fast conditions. He's got a 3rd place finish at the Genesis Invitational and a 2nd place at the Valspar this year. Just didn't get it over the hump on the weekend, but I think he's playing well enough to be in contention again this week. And then, coming in at number 1 is a guy that we've talked a lot about on and off, his time on some of the events he's played on the PGA Tour. I think there's no better time, and the time is now for this guy, Will Zalatorius, going with the guy that's leading the money list on the Korn Ferry Tour, who's done extremely well on the PGA Tour, albeit not being a member, has a second-place finish at the Masters, just continues to shake up leaderboards and get on that first page and have a lot of top 10s, top 5s, and top finishes. So super excited to see how he plays this week, and I think it's just a matter of time before we see young Will Zalatorius jump in the winner's circle and walk off with a trophy and this week's $1.5 million winner's check. So Will Zalatorius is our pick for the week.
That's that would be an incredible spring forward to the PGA Championship the next week. Anyone that wins this tournament, or at least finishes in the top 10, one would assume they're going to get an extra spring in their step going into the PGA Championship. Would that be an accurate assessment?
I think so. I think you want to definitely come into a major with some momentum. You want to come into a major hitting the ball well from tee to green, and then it's just a matter of who's hot with the putter from that aspect. So, Will Zalatorius, if he can get off to a start like he's gotten off to in a short period of time, he's qualified on Mondays for a lot of events, has been fortunate enough to get in. He's won on the Korn Ferry Tour, so, he's very accustomed to winning, albeit he's about 100 pounds, 110 pounds soaking wet. Looks like the caddy on Happy Gilmore, but I think his game certainly speaks for itself on how well he hits it from tee to green, and I think if he can get his putter hot this week, it leads to great things going into another major, considering he's coming off a second-place finish in his first ever major at the Masters.
I'm going with Scottie Scheffler this weekend. I believe he went to high school in the area, so he knows what to do down in Dallas, and I think he'll have a good game. He's been doing a really good job tee to green the last couple of weeks, so I think he's primed up for a win.
He's played well, and he's played good in the doubles tournament that we had a couple weeks ago as well, when they had the best ball in the alternate shot, and he's been playing pretty steady. So I like to see where he's headed.
All right, I'm going to stay with a Texan as well. I like Ryan Palmer in this. First of all, he's been consistent. He has a streak right now of 14 consecutive cuts made, second longest on the tour this year. He has 8 top 20 finishes, and he's a Texan. He's a guy that's used to this, used to the weather and used to this course. I think Ryan Palmer has a really good chance at being on the top of the leaderboard this weekend.
Love the Ryan Palmer pick. He was my sleeper, obviously, is Daniel Berger, but it was between him and Daniel Berger. Close personal friend, him and his wife, and my wife have been good friends for a number of years, and they would come up to Rochester when you had the PGA Championship. We'd go out and do some stuff with them. Just remarkable people. He plays well, and he plays well in Texas. He's a member of Colonial, so when we do the Colonial Invitational here in a little bit, he's definitely going to be in the roster, the top 5, just for how much he plays, and he's very familiar with that course. But I like Texans in Texas because they can adapt to the wind conditions better than anybody on the tee sheet. His ball flight, he has the ability to work it either right to left or left to right. He can hit it low when he needs to hit it. Other than his age, he's getting up there a little bit, and for PGA Tour standards, he has played probably better than anybody the last probably 3 to 5 years. Very under-the-radar type of a guy. He just quietly gets a win every other year. Has done considerably well on the PGA Tour. His wife's had some health issues, and she's doing better, so I think it's allowed him to be more freer with his practice time and be able to play a little bit. But I do like Ryan Palmer this week, and he was knocking on my door.
He's knocking on your door. Boom, boom, boom. Now, I know Ron will have his. You have your app out, right? You're getting ready to.
No, they have the week off this week.
Oh my gosh!
Because next week is $100,000 because it's a major. So they decided that they wanted to. They didn't want to give away any money this week.
Brian gets a reprieve from getting any blame this week.
There's no blame at all. And by the way, we did okay, but again, we were out of the money. So
it's just we stuff.
It's we because he helps with the picks.
He disagrees with yours.
Even with the winner, we had McIlroy.
I had Justin Thomas, so I would have I probably should have jumped on the McIlroy bandwagon. And by the way, he was matched up against the guy that bailed because of a neck injury moments before the first round began. So I chose that guy. That's how our luck is this year.
That was Webb Simpson, right?
Yeah, it was Webb Simpson against Rory McIlroy, and I chose Webb Simpson.
Yep. You know what's funny about last week? I literally threw, obviously, McIlroy was our sleeper. And I said, the way he's been playing, the only place he's going to have a shot at winning is somewhere where he's won before. He also had the course record there. He won there twice. I think if he's going to do anything, it's going to be there. I said the same thing on Phil Mickelson. I'm like, if he's going to do anything, he's pretty much off my list. I'm not going to pick him for anything. And what's he do? He goes out and shoots like 64 the first round. I'm sitting there going, we called him out, and he shoots well. So, but it didn't work out for him the rest of the week. He shot like 75 or 76. But had it going on Thursday, and then obviously Roy pulled through and got it done. It was a funny week that two guys I basically kind of sort of threw under the bus, played well in spurts and ended up winning the tournament.
Okay, now I have to ask, when it comes to Will Zalatorius, and he is your pick for the win this weekend. We've talked about how he is rather slender. He does not weigh all that much, yet he is able to hit the ball extremely well off the tee. How is a guy that small able to hit the ball well off the tee?
I imagine it's all about the body rotation, right, Brian? I mean, even if you're small, if you're rotating your body right and you're making good contact, you can really drill it.
Anthony, I think he was a golf pro in his former life. He's spot on.
I've learned some things.
You can rotate your body and move your body weight from back to front, and to be able to do that quickly, he's got no body mass to slow him down or stop him coming through. So he's able to wind up. Easiest way to explain it is, if you have a rubber band and you're going to shoot it at somebody, you want to pull that rubber band back. He's got an unlimited pull before he shoots it forward. So, as we talk about that rubber band, the golf swing is almost identical in what he does and he's able to do. And like I joke and say he's 110 pounds. He may be 130, but I would doubt that. Whatever he's got on his profile is probably about 20 pounds heavier than really what he is. But he's able to rotate, and he's able to move his body extremely fast when it comes from back to front. So being able to do that and not have any body fat to slow you down is a huge advantage when you're trying to create arc and you're trying to create distance and flexibility is certainly the key in your rhythm, tempo, and timing.
Same concept for smaller baseball hitters. They'll take that big step, rotate their body back, and it's all about the body rotation.
Yep. Same power source. It's going to be from your core. Basically, I tell everybody from your kneecaps to your belly button. Right in there is where you want to be your strongest because that part of your body can turn very, very fast. And the faster the bigger muscles in the core of your body can turn, the further you're going to hit it. They can outspeed your hands. They can outspeed your arms. And if the body and the hips, rotate through, all of Tiger Woods in 1996, 97, 98, 99, up until about 2005, when he was extremely flexible, that's the same theory. You want to wind up and you want to be able to clear, but physically, to be in great shape from your kneecaps to your belly button, that's where you're going to do the biggest damage in making the most impact in gaining and picking up distance.
Well, we see the players, not all of them, but some of the players of today want to be more buff, and they're in the weight room, and they're, suns out, guns out type of thing. Look no further than Bryson DeChambeau. And then you see guys that are nowhere near physique-wise in Will Zalatorius, but they both get the job done. It's strange how that happens.
It is. You look at like Bryson's case, and even Tiger Woods to a certain point. There's a point where you have too much muscle mass that you limit your body's rotation, so other things have to be faster. So I think as you look at Tiger Woods, the force that's put on your body, swinging at that level and swinging with that much speed, really breaks down your knees, it breaks down your hips, it breaks down your ankles. And, the funny thing is that I compare the modern day athletes, the Brooks Koepka is another example where he's had knee issues. had some ankle issues. Tiger's had some issues with back. The blunt force of the golf swing at the level that those guys play is extremely different than, if you look back at Arnold Palmer never got hurt, always played. Jack Nicklaus never got hurt, always played. The equipment was different, so you had to swing differently. You had to hit the ball differently because the golf ball didn't have the technology of today. If you look at, what Jack Nicklaus distance-wise hit it off the tee when he was on the regular PGA Tour and when he was a senior, about the same, probably a little bit more when he was a senior. So that just goes to show you that the equipment's a lot better. But the swing has to change to adapt for the different equipment. You're waiting on a persimmon wood to come through. The shafts weren't as good as they are today. The shaft means everything in a golf club today. You can take the same guy and you could switch out about 5 or 6 different shafts. If you get the correct shaft, he's going to hit the ball a lot further with the properly fitted shaft, with weight, with length, the whole 9 yards. So I think, everybody wants to compare Jack Nicklaus to Tiger Woods. Different era, different equipment. You had to play the game differently. The conditions were 100% different than they are today. But I think, with the equipment today, everybody wants to hit it as far as they can. I'll just take my chances and bomb at 350, knowing that I'm going to have a wedge or 9-iron into the green, where you really have to put some accuracy and precision because you didn't have the equipment that you have today that helps you out of the rough or gets you up and down around the greens with the sole of the wedges and the way that the grooves and the wedges are, yesterday compared to today. So premiums on the game are a little bit different, and if you look at the length, it continues to grow each and every year with how good the golf balls are and how good the equipment is. But the modern-day equipment will beat your body up a little bit more because you have the ability to swing harder. And every time that you get a bigger club head, no matter what level of golfer you are, and that goes from golf pros in my scenario, the bigger the club head, the more loft or the more spring on the face, you want to swing harder. So the equipment's made for you to hit it far, but everybody wants to hit it that extra and hit it that extra even more. Get 2 or 3 drives, very, very solid. You want to hit the next one even harder. You get into a scramble, it's the same thing. You got a buddy that's out there in good shape. The next tee shot, you want to swing even harder. So it's the thought process and the way people play the game today versus when I played junior golf and when I watched the PGA Tour in the 80s and 90s is way different than it is today. There's no fear. There's no fear with flipping a putt 10 feet by, where before, if you got it on the wrong side of the hole, it was tough to get it up and down. Therefore, it was tough to two-putt. Now it's the kids have no fear, and they pay so much that, hey, people are very content with finishing in the top 30 and walking away with about a 10-year career, maybe not have a win, but walking away with $15 to $18 million in career earnings. So very different than last generations of yesteryear to what we have today. All had a lot of positives to bring to the game. Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer brought a ton to the game. Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods bring a ton to the game. And I think it's generational, but the way that they play it couldn't be more night and day.
So what you're saying is with DJ getting his new clubs, we can expect him on the PGA Tour here momentarily?
Pretty darn close, absolutely.
It's all about rotation, DJ.
The bar is raising for him with the good equipment. He's got the snazzy new bag. He'll have some woods here, hopefully, with the next few days. But he's going to look GQ, there's no doubt about it.
So you were talking golf club shafts, right? Not Samuel L. Jackson in a leather coat shaft. I kept hearing you say shaft, and I couldn't help but hear the theme song. Shaft!
That should be my theme song for this segment.
They say that Callaway, he's a bad mother. Shut your mouth. Only talking about my Callaway woods.
There you go.
Speaking of, let's we should cue up some shaft music as we do your tip of the week. Mr. Brian Tolnar, who's that man with that 5-wood in his hand? Shaft. You're damn right. All right, let's go to your tip of the week, sir.
Tip of the week is going to be back to the basics. The very first part of the golf swing, the grip of the club. So as we're going to relate this to, we'll start off relating it to the right-handed golfer because it'll be easier to explain it. So if you're a left-handed golfer, I'm sorry, but there's only one way to articulate this. Most of the tips I'm easily able to articulate, top hand, bottom hand, so on and so forth. But with the grip, you have to have one side or the other. And able to do this. So when we do our clinics and stuff, we'll demonstrate both sides. So just think the opposite when it comes to left-handed. Not that we're shafting the left-handed players, speaking of shaft, but as the right-handed golfer puts his hands on the grip, probably if you go back to Arnold Palmer, the first lesson he ever got was from his dad, who was the head golf professional superintendent at Latrobe Country Club. He basically put Arnold's hands on the club and says, this is the way that you properly hold the grip, and this is the way that you want to hold it the rest of your life. So we're basically going to give you that variation over the broadcast today. We'll start off, as I'm a right-handed golfer, I'm going to put my left hand on that golf grip. So my left hand is going to go more towards some of the palm of my hand, and it's going to be pressure point-wise. If you put your hands on the club, the thumb will be straight down the shaft of the club, pointing at the club face. The back three fingers is going to be the pressure point with your upper hand, which is your left hand when you put it on that club. So the back three fingers of our left hand, very important in making sure that we hold that club. Now, just as we talk on grip pressure, we want to make sure that we have enough grip pressure that the club doesn't turn or twist in our hand. So very, very simple stuff, but we don't want to squeeze the grip really hard. And the reason that we don't want to squeeze the grip really hard is if I squeeze the grip really hard with those back three fingers, it makes my arms tense, it makes my shoulders tense, which will in turn limit our rotation and our mobility to take the club back. So again, we want to remain loose and limber. We want to be as flexible as possible in the golf swing. So having a grip that is on the club, not too tight, but is just loose enough to where the club's not going to twist or turn in your hand is very vital. So we've got the left hand on the club. The thumb's pointing directly towards the club face, straight down. So we're going to add our right hand to the club, and we have a couple ways that we can do that. We can do what they call a 10-finger baseball grip. We can do an interlocking grip, or we can do an overlapping grip. So very important. So we're going to place our right hand on the club. We're going to match it up so it looks like our left hand, where we have our thumbs pointing directly down towards the club face. With the exception of our right thumb, we're going to reposition it over just a little bit. So a couple things that you're going to be able to see, no matter how you grip the club, when you look down at it. When you're holding the club and you're lining it up at a target, you're going to see two V's created between the index and the thumb of each hand. So of that left hand, we want to make sure that that V is pointing at our chin or the buttons of your shirt in the left hand, which is the upper hand of the grip. With our right hand, it's going to be between our chin and our right shoulder. So anywhere in there, we have our grip in position properly. So it's in a nice neutral position, which is going to allow us to hit the ball straight, going to allow us to flip the ball, slice the ball, so on down the line to be able to work the ball. So as we put our lower hand on there, we can go one of three ways. We can put all 10 fingers on the club, or we can take our pinky of our right, our index of our left, we can slide our hands together, and we can lock them together. Again, those V's will be in the same place they were with that 10-finger grip that we started with. Left hand at your chin, right hand between your chin and your right shoulder, somewhere in there is a good start. Or we can actually take our 10-finger grip, take the pinky of our right hand, which is our lower hand, slide it towards that left hand, and overlap that pinky over our left hand index. That's what we call the overlapping grip. Keeping in mind all those angles and those V's will be the same with each of these three grips. Grip is basically comes down to comfort. What you feel the most comfortable with is what we want you to use. So at the beginning of the year, we want you to try each of them to be able to know which one that you feel the most comfortable with. And again, when we have our right hand on the club, just as important as those back three fingers were with the grip pressure of our left hand, which was our upper hand, the front three fingers of our right hand are the most important of our lower hand. So the index finger, the middle finger, and your thumb is going to be your pressure point with your right hand grip, and the back three fingers of your left will be the pressure point of your left hand on the grip. So those things are vital in making sure that when we hit shots, we hit them where we're trying to hit from an aiming standpoint. Any deviation off of those, or you can't see the V on one side or another, will make the ball go one of two ways. It's either going to close the club face down and make you hit it left, or open the club face to the right, making you hit it high and off to the right. So Grip is probably the most important before we do anything when it comes to alignment or setup, making sure that we have our hands in the proper position. And grip is one of those things that can evolve with you. I played as a junior with the interlocking grip, and somewhere over the past 10 or 12 years, I ended up switching over as the spring season started to the overlapping grip. Never really realized I did, just put my hands on the club, and my grip had changed at that point. So making your hands work together as a unit is number one in every priority across having the proper grip, making sure those V's are lined up, the upper hand V at your chin, the right hand V at between your chin and your right shoulder, or the buttons of your shirt and your right shoulder. Having those in the proper place will guarantee you that you're going to get off to a good start and you're going to hit the shots where you're looking and where you want to be, whether it be a fairway or a green in regulation to be hit.
It's an interesting tip, and Anthony and I. It's interesting. We don't have the camera on us. We have a picture of you.
Thank God.
Otherwise, you would have seen Anthony and I doing our grips. Which, okay, I get the interlocking because I've done that, and that's how I hold a golf club. I don't understand the other one that you were talking about.
The overlap?
Yeah, the overlap. I'm not. This is one of those visual things that I'm not quite understanding, and I guess well, for many reasons, I owe a trip to Mill Creek to play on that gorgeous course with my dad. But now I really have to go over there so you can show me this overlap grip that we're talking about here.
Absolutely. They say a couple things about each one of these grips, whether they're right, wrong, or indifferent, depending upon what you read, what you see, what we've studied, as golf instructors coming through the program of teaching and ball flight laws and so on down the line, is, the interlocking grip is basically the grip that Jack Nicklaus used. So it's made for a guy that may have smaller hands or wants his hands to work together a little bit more. So they say players with smaller hands use the interlocking grip. Players with larger hands tend to go to that overlapping grip, which was Tiger Woods, which was Arnold Palmer. It depends on your comfort level. Probably the least, amount of grip used would be that 10-finger baseball grip, but it's, as golfers and baseball players and everybody else pick up golf clubs, they'll gravitate to that grip. Not that there's anything wrong with it. They just like to have the club in both of their hands to feel that. It's whatever your comfort level is where you want to be, but there are 3 variations to that, and it's a matter of finding the one that works to where both of your hands are working together as one. The pressure points, obviously the back 3 fingers of the top hand, the bottom 3 fingers of the lower hand, which is your right hand, if you're a right-handed golfer, and vice versa for left-handed, are vitally important to making sure that your hands are working together and not fighting against one another as they're on the shaft or the grip of the club.
Now, right-handed, the lower hand is the left hand.
Yeah.
If you're a right-handed golfer, yeah. I want to make sure that because I want to make sure I'm doing this right. Because otherwise, I'm cross-handed when I'm shooting right-handed, and you can break a bone doing that.
Yeah, and I think there's about 2 guys that have been able to pull that off that were decent players. One of them is actually from Canton. His last name was Oakley. I can't think of his first name. Very good player, but played cross-handed. But very hard to do. And you're right, you could break your wrist very easily doing it that way. Now, a lot of guys will putt like that because they feel more comfortable. But, not making a full swing, not taking a divot or hitting the ball off the tee with your hands being in the reverse spot is very different than putting like that. But, it comes down to comfort, and it comes down to your hands working together as one unit. If we can control that, we're off to a great start in ball striking, whether it be a wood off the tee or an iron into a green.
I like that you brought up the grip that baseball players will tend to go to if they pick up a club, the baseball grip. And there are translations between baseball and golf. And sometimes in a situation in baseball, you'll see a split grip if they want more control over the bat, if they're going to bunt or if they want to hit the ball to left field on 2 strikes. Is that a no-no in golf, or are there situations where you want more club control so you'll separate your hands a little bit to have a little bit more club control in that situation?
Well, what happens if you split it? Now, we do a drill where we do a split grip for a guy that has the dreaded shank word. So we do have a drill for that, but we don't suggest using that because your hands are making the club turn in 2 different directions. So your right hand wants the club to close, the left hand wants to be a little bit more neutral if you're split. So there's, they're really kind of fighting, from the downswing through impact on. So those are, some areas that you wouldn't want to use that in a playing situation. You want to use it for some drills and feeling the tendency of the club, coming open to square to closed, as it's from the backswing to the forward swing or the follow through. But I definitely would suggest that in play because you're going to get some mixed results and some inconsistency across the board.
Brian, always a pleasure, sir, and hopefully the weather warms up and we get all kinds of golfers heading over to Mill Creek. Lord knows we're not going to get rain for a while, so you should be pretty busy the next 7 to 10 days.
Awesome. Before I leave, I want to ask: is Anthony wearing Tennessee?
I'm wearing the Tennessee orange. Yes.
You got it. I have an old boss that's a alumni from there. Guys, orange. Loves Tennessee, was in a fraternity there in the whole 9 yards. He'd be loving your outfit today. So Harry Murley's his name. He lives in Hendersonville, Tennessee. So kudos to him and kudos for you for wearing that. I'll share it with him.
Yeah, he looks rather dapper in the Tennessee orange today.
GQ as always.
I told him if I slap him or bump into him, do I hear Rocky Top?
Boy, I'll tell you what, if you had $1 for every time that plays in the stadium, you'd be a very rich man.
Yeah. Having lived in that state for 6 years, I've grown to the point where I know the lyrics and I don't ever want to hear that song again.
Don't hit me.
Awesome.
All righty, sir. Always a pleasure.
You got to have a good week, Ron and Anthony.
All right, you as well. Brian Tolnar over at Mill Creek. He joins us every Wednesday at this time on
Tennessee fans are everywhere.
On the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. We do have a great story with Rocky Top. So at Pringles Park, we used to do the 7th inning stretch, and then we would play Rocky Top. Now this town is an hour from Memphis. You would have thought a lot of the people in West Tennessee would be gravitating toward Memphis. No, not the case. Tennessee is a statewide phenomenon, just like Ohio State is in our state.
And it's understand. I mean, Tennessee's this big school. Memphis is in the CUSA.
Yeah, they're mid-major.
So Tennessee's gonna swallow up a couple of.
Yeah,
Memphis
it's like Ohio State and Tennessee.
I have to deal with it when I go to Georgia. It's all about Georgia. There's like a little Georgia Tech section.
Yeah, but
and that's weird because Georgia Tech's a Power 5 school.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still just like UGA reigns supreme in Georgia.
Yeah, but you have 2 Power 5 conference schools in the state of Georgia,
right.
Where Tennessee you have 1, and in Ohio you have 1, and both Ohio State and Tennessee rule the state, no questions asked. So. After the 7th inning stretch, you play Rocky Top.
Absolutely.
All right. First time David Price made an appearance at Pringles Park. It was actually his first game.
You play it like crazy.
First game he ever pitched in professional baseball. And we played Rocky Top at least 50 times. At least. And there was a strong contingent of people from Vanderbilt that were there. And they were pissed. I mean, they were pissed beyond belief.
Yeah, but no, there you go. There are 2 Power 5 teams in Tennessee. Because Vanderbilt's in Nashville.
You're right, Vanderbilt. Much like your argument with Georgia. Yeah. So anyway, we play the 7th inning stretch. Now, our public address announcer is a well-known radio personality in Jackson. And he's a pretty cool dude. But he went savage on everyone, and he said, and this song is for you Vanderbilt fans. Hit it! And then you played Rocky Top. Oh, God, I thought we were going to have a civil war in the stadium. That was just, it was...
That's right. I bet some fans brought out the orange for that game, too, because they wanted to kind of shove it to David Price.
Well, he shoved it to the Jacks. He threw a 4-hit shutout. I think he used that as a little bit of, you want to play Rocky Top? Well, let me show you what I got. And he showed everyone what he had.
I imagine he pitched pretty well in Tennessee, too. So he probably is used to that song being played.
Yeah, that was hilarious. You have these Vanderbilt dignitaries and Vanderbilt fans, and they're listening to Rocky Top the whole damn game. It was
Commodore. The Commodores.
It was interesting, to say the least.
I haven't been to Vanderbilt, but I bet that campus,
Oh,
you
it's-
walk around that,
wow.
and you're probably like, I am way too poor to be here
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, that is that's the southern version of Notre Dame.
Right.
I think that's
You
probably
either-
the best way you can
you're
describe
either-
it.
You're either really smart, really athletic, or really rich, or you're not going there.
Yeah,
Those are your-
Vanderbilt is a very, very nice, very uppity type of campus, and it's in a beautiful city. I mean, Nashville is, other than the fact that it's really difficult to get in and out of Nashville because the road, the interstate is just that needs updated. Because Nashville has exploded in the last 10, 15 years.
We drove through Nashville on our way to Tuscaloosa for the professional softball
Yeah.
tournament that was held at the Rhodes Stadium, which is in the University of Alabama. But anyway, point is, Nashville was one of the hardest towns to get through. That and the traffic for some reason in Louisville was crazy.
Yeah, they certainly need to readjust the driving and the highways in Nashville, because it's no longer modern because the town has exploded so much and it's grown out and now everyone wants to be part of that city, and why not? It's a gorgeous city.
It's like
and the area is just unbelievably
It's almost
spectacular.
like the Los Angeles of the East Coast, where people just go to, they're dreaming, they want to live in Nashville for their music career, and
Yeah.
they'll do whatever it takes to live in Nashville.
And it's not just country music. It's a lot of music comes out of Nashville now. A lot of recording studios are in Nashville. The music scene in that city is crazy good. Oh, man, you'll go into some of the establishments and hear live bands that should be on a music label that aren't good enough to be on a music label, and you just like looking, how the hell is this group or this particular solo artist not good enough to be on a music
That's
label?
You go, if I had money, I would just make a label and assign it, but I don't.
Yeah,
So,
but I don't, so
have a
sucks
good
to
day.
be you.
Here's $5. Thank you for paying.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some people on the, like when we were in New York City, there's some people on the streets, and I go, you have ridiculous talent. You should go on America's Got Talent or something, because it's like, what are you doing on the streets in New York?
Making a lot of money.
Making a lot.
Yeah, because they open up their instrument,
Right.
the little.
Did you ever see the video? I forget the guy's name. He's like a master violin player that plays concerts out the wazoo. Probably the best violin player in our generation.
Yo-Yo Ma?
Maybe it was him. Anyway, he did this experiment where he got in disguise and played in the subways of New York. And no one knew who he was, and he was sitting there playing these master violin pieces, and people were just throwing him a little money here and there. And he's like, I make millions of dollars a night just based on my name. And I made like $100 in the subway, playing the exact same violin and the exact same music.
I mean, it's
crazy.
It's not the first time someone has done that. Where you'll have someone dressed up in disguise, and they'll start doing some things, and they're like, okay, you're okay, but you're not on this particular level.
It's one of those, people will pay for the idea that they're going to this masterful concert.
Yeah.
So if they hear the same exact music,
Yeah.
played with the same exact guy, there's
Yeah.
something in the brain that says, I'll throw him a couple bucks, but I'm not really going to
Yeah.
stand here.
Well, you're okay, but you're not as good
Right.
as the person who did this. I'm
Right.
like, oh, really now?
I am
let
the
me show you who I am here, and then that person becomes it's weird. Weird is all we can say about that. All right, 330-886-0813. We'll take a time out. We got baseball to talk about, some high school baseball, and we also have a little bit of a leakage going on in the National Football League with Week 1, or not necessarily the National Football League. CBS did
I
this.
think Week 1 was done on purpose, and they wanted to amp up the fact that they're having a release show today on the NFL.
Yeah, the NFL Network is
So
going to do the complete.
They want to give people a little taste. And
Yeah.
They're like, here, these are some Week 1 games.
The full Monty is tonight, but you get a Week 1 release.
Because they won the Super Bowl, Tampa Bay is probably playing the first game of the year.
Yes, they are.
And
And
now-
they're playing Dallas, the first game of the year, according to the reports. It was supposed to be, there was a rumor flying around it was going to be Buffalo. Buffalo's not going to be playing against Tampa until later in the season, which will
we don't know it. We don't know.
Through some might be happening or wishful thinking. We do know week one, and we'll tell you what's going on week one because it has local ramifications for both of our teams. We'll just leave it at that. That'll be coming up later. We got some baseball to talk about, high school baseball. Stick around. It is a Wednesday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
This is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of pre-owned vehicles. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your pre-owned vehicle and much more. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their pre-owned vehicle at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Years ago, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods began with 3 siblings, a hand-set sawmill, and a few local orders. And while business has certainly changed over the years, what has not are our principles of hard work, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. At Baird Brothers, we're proud to put our name on the products we create, from moldings and doors to flooring and lumber. Thank you for 60 great years. We look forward to 60 more. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hardwig. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. We made mention before DJ came in with the unfortunate news that we'll update everyone on here in a bit. Salem winning the EBC, which phenomenal that they were able to win their league championship. Lakeview got past Struthers in any 8-game. Nick DeMonica struck out 16 in the victory over the Wildcats, 7-2. That's some kind of performance. Oh, by the way, he also doubled, tripled, and drove in 4 runs.
Another championship to give out. The Columbiana Clippers won the EOAC outright with the win over United. They won at least a share the night before, and then took care of business the next night with a 3-2 win, I believe, and won the EOAC outright. So congratulations to the Clippers.
Absolutely. South Range keeps rolling. They beat Jefferson 11-4. They're now 11-1 in the league, 16-7 overall. Have we mentioned they're going to be a bear to deal with in the tournaments? And again, they jumped into the Rootstown half of the Super Size Me district. South Range, the number 2 seed. They went right after number 1 Rootstown, which I'll be curious to see if that pays dividends for them. Niles a winner over Girard, 5-4. Niles is one of those teams that could be very sneaky good, and with any luck, they could make a significant run in the Division II tournament.
They really could. I think Niles is very talented. They have a group of 3 players that are all having tremendous seasons. And when you look at that, 5 seeds are always dangerous because they're going to be playing a couple of they're going to be playing the higher seeds earlier. So I think Niles is very dangerous, especially when we talked about the field they're playing on. Anything can happen because it's all dirt infield. So you never know how the ball is going to react to that.
No doubt. I think Niles has the potential to do some damage in the Division II tournament. Matthews goes to 15-5 on the campaign. They beat Maplewood 15-6 yesterday. Cardinal Mooney scoring 11 times in the bottom of the 3rd inning. They get a 21-2 victory over Youngstown East. Springfield knocking off Ursuline. That's a big win for Springfield.
They didn't just knock them off. They dominated, too.
Yeah, that's a, dare I say, that's a statement win because Ursuline had scored 3 times in the bottom of the 2nd to tie that ball game up at 3, and it was all Springfield after that point. Springfield scored a run in the 3rd, 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and scored 3 more times in the 7th inning to get a 10-3 victory over Ursuline. And both of those teams are D3, and both of those teams are going to be in the same tournament, same district tournament. Yeah, that was a message that was sent.
Remember when we talked about that D3 bracket that they're both in, and we said, man, there are like 4 or 5 teams that have legitimate chances to win it? This proves it, because Ursuline will still have a chance to win it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But they just got smacked by Springfield, who will have a chance to win it. And Moody will have a chance to win it.
Columbiana will have a chance
to win it. So a lot of teams vying for that spot.
Yeah, and that was the 3-ring circus when South Range decided to jump right next to Rootstown. Mm-hmm. Top 2 seeds are in the one half of the district. 3 through 6 said, You guys have fun. We're going to go do our own thing over at Scene, and this should be a blast. So, boy, oh boy, we could have a 3-ring circus.
Boy, oh boy.
This could be all kinds of fun. Yeah, so it'll be a blast for certain. We got to jump back into softball because you got your sectional title games, Divisions 1 and 4. Here we go. Division 1 sectional title games. Fitch will be hosting Canton Glen Oak. Howland is going to travel to North Canton Hoover, and Mentor is at Boardman. Those games will start at 5 o'clock today. Sectional titles up for grabs in softball.
A little bit later in the show, we'll go over what games we have on the network and how to get access to them with the new news that we are being charged. So unfortunately, we have to put up our pay-per-view wall, and you'll be able to pay $9.99 each day for the night of games that are just playoff games, softball, baseball. So, you don't have to pay for the baseball regular season games today. If your softball team is finishing up regular season matchups, even though they're out of the tournament, you won't have to pay for those. You just have to pay for the tournament games. So we'll go over a little bit later what tournament games we have on the network tonight and remind people to check into the pay-per-view.
And I would like to remind everyone that if you're one of these people that is, well, why should I pay $9.99 to watch a game on YSN when I can go see this game at no charge? No, $10. There will be a charge, and it's actually a little more by a penny than what you will pay with us.
If you're a casual fan or someone that likes to watch a bunch of softball or baseball when their tournament starts, it's a more of a value because you're paying $9.99 for all the games on the network. So you're paying that $10 fee that you would get into one game, and you can go and watch all the playoff games.
Yeah, so you can do some serious flipping back and forth,
you can flip.
and use your investment that way. But again, unfortunately, the pay-per-view wall is up because the OHSAA in the, I don't even want to say the 11th hour, because we're 3 days into this tournament. This is more like the 28th hour in a 24-hour day.
Clock already struck midnight on Cinderella. And the prince is already out looking for the slipper.
Wait a second. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Where's Snow White? Or Cinderella? I'm sorry. I got my fairy tales mixed up. Where's Cinderella? It's 4 in the morning. Well, I want to fit her for this glass slipper. It's 4 in the morning. Cinderella is back to being the housemaid that she was. You're gonna have to
But just like Cinderella, we are your fairy godmothers coming to fix everything, and we will be broadcasting all the tournament games. Well, a lot of the tournament games.
Yes.
High value, $9.99 gets you every game on the night for that day.
And I'm still trying to figure out if you're charging the John public to go to a game, and you're charging them $10 for a district tournament.
No, here's the great, because Steve Ward texted me while DJ was talking, and at least at Fitch, I don't know if this is for every district, but the district price is going to go up to $12 to get into that district game.
Okay, so it's $10 for the sectionals.
Yeah.
So then it's $12 for the district.
Right. $12.
So how much are we going to be paying for a regional or a state? Because, and hear me out on this, and I think everyone would agree, sectional tournaments, it's the first round. It's the lowest of the low rung for the high-rent district. You have your sectionals, you have your districts, you have your regionals, and then you have Park Avenue, the state tournament. If we're paying $12 to go to a game, not just for paying us, if you're not interested if you're interested in seeing a game live, you're going to pay $12 for a district tournament ticket. How the hell much are we going to be paying for a regional or a state tournament, which are two higher planes than a district?
And forget planes on the field, but you have to business 101. Less people going means you have to charge more to make the same amount of money, because there are less teams left in the regionals, so there's going to be less people going to these games than there are districts across the state. So Business 101 tells you if the demand goes down, the price goes up. So
Is it out of the realm of possibility where when we convene at Akron Firestone Stadium, hopefully, fingers crossed, Lord willing,
$15 a ticket,
where one of our local teams gets to a state tournament, fingers crossed, pray to the baseball god or softball god, small g, are we going to be telling the consumers, oh, hey, by the way, if you're going to Firestone Stadium, that'll be $15?
I think so. I think I wouldn't be surprised. And the other thing is, you can't buy it at the gate anymore. You have to buy all the tickets online, and then show up with the scan code on your app.
Yeah,
they're not doing buying.
And then, of course, if people are living in the '90s with a flip phone, or the early 21st century with a flip phone,
what do I do with this?
Yeah, I don't have a smartphone. What am I doing here?
How long did it take you to yield and get the smartphone? Were you someone that tried to cling to the old ways?
Oh, hell yes, I was. I didn't want one of these things. I was just like looking at this going, why do I need this? Well, it's you're going to be able to go online. You're going to be able to do all this other stuff. All I want to do is make a damn phone call. I don't want any of this other crap. Well, of course, now you're hooked on this. You're corrupt on this. But I like, what my father has said. His Christmas wish for the last 10 years is a rotary phone. I'm like, I think I can make that happen. Well, I am going to search at a garage sale or somewhere for a rotary phone and then hook it up and say, here you go. Have at it.
You have to go to one of those flea markets, like the Wizard of Oz in Jackson Milton.
Yeah, or go to Rogers or one of those places where maybe someone has a rotary phone. And now, back in when I was a young kid,
you can really mess with people that don't know how to use it and be like, here, make your phone call.
Oh, yeah. No, you show this to a kid, and the kid's going to be like, how the hell do I operate this?
What do I...
Yeah. But back in the day, the cool kids used to have the rotary phone with the 50-foot long extension cord where you can find some privacy and talk to who's crushing on you or who you're crushing on.
In the closet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then you have little sisters that can't seem to, keep their nose out of things, hiding in a place in which you are talking to said person. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I'm just saying.
I'm in that weird generation where I grew up in the 90s, which wasn't technologically advanced, but I was also young enough to come up with technology advances. So I'm in that weird where I still know what a CD player is, and I know what an 8-track tape is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
So try to explain to kids what call waiting was. Because when you had call waiting.
Oh, call waiting was phenomenal.
Back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
They're like.
Yeah, call waiting was phenomenal. It was just, you'd hear the doot and and then they have a 3-way conversation on the phone, which would be pretty cool as well. But you try explaining that to kids of today, and you're going to get looked at like, huh? Or if you told them VHS was the tape of choice, but VHS won a war, and I do mean a war, with Beta, because when that stuff first came out, VCRs had VHS and they had Betamax, and there was just a hotly contested war to determine who was going to be, getting the most business. Was it going to be the VHS tapes or the Betamax tapes? And VHS ultimately won the thing. But I've always felt sorry for the folks that had Betamax tapes. What the hell do you do with these things now? I mean, in general, what the hell do you do with anyone with a VHS tape?
People, when the iPod came out, people that thought the Zune was going to take over, and they got the Zune.
Yeah.
No one listens to Zune.
Yeah, no, it's the iPod was going to destroy it because it's part of the Apple group.
I still have all the VHSs that we had growing up because you just don't get rid of some of those stuff.
No.
And there are a lot of movies that I have that I don't have on DVD, but I have on VHS, so I can just pop into the VCR. I don't have to go buy the DVD.
Now, my great aunt, and she is in her 90s, she used to work for RCA, and RCA came out with a disc player, but it wasn't it wasn't a compact disc or something like that. You had these gigantic album type of discs that you would put in a disc player that RCA made, and you'd watch the movie. There would be movies on these things. There would be some other things that they put on these gigantic discs. Oh, and it's still functional, but it's weird looking. Where you'd be like, why didn't this make it? And then you look at the size of the disc that you had to put into this thing, and you're okay. Now I understand why this didn't work very well.
We're gonna watch a movie today.
Yeah, it looks like an album that you would put on a record player. Except here was this RCA disc player where you'd feed the album into it, and then you'd watch whatever's on that thing. But it didn't. It didn't click with John Q. Public because it looks more like an album that you would play on a record player.
Right.
So, yeah, it was. But she still has this thing. It's pretty cool looking, but man, it's antiquated as hell.
I think one of my old history teachers in high school showed his documentaries on one of those.
Yeah.
Like he had one in the classroom.
Oh, those things were they're really cool looking.
I remember the first time he pulled out one of those big discs, and I was like, for people that are if anyone's watching from South Range, Mr. Patton, what the heck is that? Oh, it's our documentary. It was just big record.
And it was just like, what are we going to hear this? No, you're going to watch it. And he flipped this thing into a disc player, and RCA. It was a state of the art back then. They used to sell that for $900 to $1,000 back then. Of course, when VCRs and Betamaxes came out, they were well over $1,000.
Everything is expensive when it first comes out.
Yeah,
because it's a brand new thing.
Yeah,
now you can't even find it. You can't even find VCRs on the internet to try to.
I remember the first time.
So when mine goes, that's it. I can't watch my old movies anymore.
No. I mean, everything's on CD or not CDs, DVDs now, and even DVDs are
you can't transfer your movies that you have on VHS to DVD because somehow they put some kind of copyright thing that these machines can see, and we can't transfer that. That's copyrighted.
Yeah.
So all those movies I have, when my VCR goes, I'm just gonna be like, ugh.
When Blockbuster was in its heyday,
yes, I remember the blue case.
Yeah, you would rent those movies, and if you didn't rewind those movies back, oh my God, they were vicious.
Be kind, rewind.
Yeah, they would be like, well, you're not going to be renting from us for the next 2 weeks. I'm like, what are you, the VHS Nazi? What the hell's going on here? Why you didn't rewind? I'm like, and? Says, be kind, rewind. You're out of here for 2 weeks. I'm like, wow.
You're suspended.
This elevated or escalated quite quickly. I mean, good Lord. Yeah, so
it was really annoying to have to, pop it in. You're like, what do you mean I have to rewind the whole?
Yeah, you got to rewind the whole damn thing, and it takes a while because
I have to get spoiled because the picture shows up anyway, and you'll see it backwards, but you'll see what happens at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and then at the beginning you had the FBI warning, which I always thought was hilarious. Like what? So Scully and Mulder are going to be coming through the door saying, "Hey, you're not allowed to do this." Come on. Stop that.
It scared me as a kid. Like, oh man, this is serious. Like FBI warning at the that, and I remember as a little kid being scared of the MGM lion.
Yeah.
Like it came out raw. I was like, oh,
yeah. That was whoa. Hey, wait a second.
Bringing out lions now. Jeez.
Yeah. I remember, and I want to say it's been about 7 or 8 years. Maybe longer. Time goes by so quickly. The first HD TV that I saw. Now, you got to remember, as a child of the 70s, you grew up and our TVs were essentially these big-ass consoles that had the stereo built in with the TV. You had the record player and you had the speakers, and I mean this monstrosity was a wonderful thing. It was a staple for anyone that grew up in the late '60s, early mid '70s. This was a staple in people's houses. So through the years, I'm watching non-HD TV, and the first time I watched HD TV, I was like, how the hell did I watch all through the years of watching sporting events the way that I did? If I'm watching on a regular TV, non-HD TV, which I have one, I'm like, ooh, no,
Ooh.
I don't like this. This isn't very good. Give me an HD TV. You get spoiled pretty quickly with the high resolution and all of the fancy stuff that modern technology has brought to the table.
Ew, gross.
I was like, no, this picture doesn't do anything for me. Give me the HD TV. And then you get the new stuff, which I think the newest TV that I have is 7 years old, 6 or 7 years old. So it's not really that new. I would imagine there's 2 or 3 different models that are even better picture wise, which is weird because the TV that I have, it's still got a pretty good picture. It just modern technology is compared to what's television-wise, what I would watch as a kid. Oh my gosh, I thought remote controls were the cool thing when we first got a remote control.
We didn't have a clicker. We had to use a knob.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's not this Wii stuff. I had stuff thrown at me and said change the channel. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's time for me to switch from ABC to NBC.
The kid that would have to stand with the antenna. Don't you dare move.
Yeah.
For the next 3 hours during this game.
Yeah. You put it now. You put it up a little bit. No, it's too much. You got to put it back down a little bit.
I swear to God, Ron, if you lose this picture, you're picking your own switch.
You're bringing up some dark memories here. I don't think we want to talk about this.
That was psychological warfare because you go out to pick it and you just go, they're going to send me right back out because that's not going to
see the good news.
That one will break my spine.
Yeah. The good news for me, when we moved out of Youngstown in the early 70s and moved to Leetonia, cable TV had just gotten into Leetonia, and they didn't have cable TV from where we lived. We didn't have cable TV, so this was just a brand new experience. Where, okay, the area that we're living in not nearly as populated. It's culture shock to go from a school the size of Boardman to a school the size of Leetonia. That was kind of a culture shock.
Where everybody knows your name.
But I got more than the 3 channels that we would normally get in Youngstown. I got all these other channels I could watch TV on.
I couldn't help the tears.
Oh, I know.
How to get a pop culture reference?
You had to do the pop culture reference. So, but from that aspect, it was pretty cool. But oh my gosh, it was so weird. Just
got me on. DJ's got
back
me
home. It was when I was growing up in Youngstown. It was so weird. You didn't have cable. It was like you have ABC, CBS, NBC. You have Fox, and your Youngstown affiliates, and that's it. You couldn't unless you had one of those supersized antennas on your roof or one of those rotating ones that moves. That was it. That was all you got. When I went to Leetonia, I was like, oh, you mean I get Pittsburgh and Cleveland stations crystal clear? Oh my God, this is ridiculous. This is so cool.
Breaking news out of the softball world: Louisville and McDonald game has been canceled. Louisville does not have enough girls to form a team tonight, so McDonald will advance without a game.
Wow.
Because Louisville played last night and won. Yeah. So what happened in one night?
We have not. I mean,
that's weird.
There's no word of any COVID, anything like that. The only thing we're getting is that the game has been canceled and McDonald will advance. So
yeah, McDonald goes to the district semifinals. Man, that's tough.
Challenging.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's terrible. I feel bad for the kids from Louisville to have your season end like that. That's a tough pill to swallow.
But let's be honest. I mean, like, I'm not trying to take anything away from Louisville, but they're going up against Bree Callow.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, your chances were.
Louisville pitches well. I mean, I think in the last game against McDonald, it was like 4-0.
Yeah.
But it's tough for an offense like that to try to hit against Precala.
And you don't want to say that anything can happen on any given day, because it can.
Right.
But, she's special.
She's special.
She's special.
Yeah.
So there's one down. So we're down to four postseason games tonight, and then we have a slew, including Howland and Canfield tonight for baseball, which, again, Canfield back in action for the first time in a while. So that'll be exciting to see if they can bounce back and play in an All-American Conference foe. So
you're going to Lisbon, right?
I'm going to Lisbon. I get to see Justice and McKenna Daly and the crew take on Shocker. So I'm going to be booking it out of here right at 4 o'clock and getting down there. But, I'm excited. We haven't gotten to cover Lisbon a whole lot this year. But, that was one I know Billy was excited to cover, the McDonald game. He's kind of bummed now. So.
Well, he can just follow them to the district semis.
Well, I think there's another one we might be able to send them to. So we're trying to scramble to find another game.
Right.
But unfortunate for both sides, because McDonald obviously always wants to play, and not that they didn't earn the opportunity, but you never want to see a forfeit.
Right.
You just don't. So.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow. Huh? Unfortunate, but congratulations to Lowville on a good season. It's just a bad way to end the campaign.
If you're Sammy Kelly and you're a freshman, and unfortunately that's the last game that you went out with a shutout and to win a tournament game. The one of the positives, unfortunately, is that's the last memory of this season. You don't have to deal with a loss or whatever. You just, last game of the year, we won a tournament game, and I pitched a shutout against Warren JFK, and it was a pitcher's duel where every pitch was high energy, high stress, because we only had one run. So if for freshman Sammy Kelly, she can take that into her sophomore year as a good stepping stone.
Yeah, so again, breaking news, the Lowville-McDonald game will not happen. Lowville does not have enough players. Therefore, McDonald will advance to the district semifinals. That game was to have been played this afternoon at 5 o'clock at McDonald. That game now canceled. McDonald gets the automatic berth or automatic bid into the district semifinals via a forfeit over Lowville. All right, we'll take a timeout. On the other side, our local football teams. This story was leaked about 4 hours ago from CBS, the official television home of the AFC.
Talking NFL. I thought we were going into a high school breaking story.
Oh, no.
Our local football teams. I was like, oh, geez.
Our favorite teams are going to be playing those of local / regional flavor in week number 1, which promises to be a really fun week number 1 if you're a fan of the Browns and Steelers. We'll get to that story coming up after this timeout. It's a Wednesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealthadvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you, alongside Anthony Hardwig. Okay, so the National Football League is set to announce their entire season schedule later this evening on the NFL Network. In a genius move, I believe the suits got together and said, especially those at CBS said, hey, let's whet the appetite of some folks and give away our Week 1 games that we'll be televising. And lo and behold, since all 4 of the teams in question are AFC teams and CBS broadcasts mainly the AFC, all of these 4 teams will be in action on CBS in week number 1. And as luck would have it, my favorite team and Anthony's favorite team will be taking on one of the regional teams. So the Steelers will make a trip to Orchard Park to take on Buffalo in week 1 of the National Football League season. That has been confirmed by CBS. That game will be a 1 o'clock game. Now, you would think, hey, this should be a 4:25 game, or it has the makings of a 4:25 game. Well, no, because the 4:25 game is going to be a pretty damn good game too. The Cleveland Browns go to Kansas City to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, and that is scheduled to be a 4:25 affair. Man, that's a good first week. For your team, for my team, the Steelers coming to Buffalo in week 1, the Browns going to KC in week 1. Man, that's some good football right off the get-go.
And the Browns are going to come into that game with a whole lot of bad feelings and motivation to win it. I know the Browns fans feel like they could have won the Super Bowl if they would have beaten but it's a ludicrous statement, but it's out there.
Yeah, it's out there.
There's going to be a lot of motivation in that game to kind of get revenge in Kansas City.
Yeah, absolutely.
And week 1 is the best time to beat good teams because it's week 1.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
I mean, I got to be honest. I would have much rather played Pittsburgh late in the season.
The Chiefs are going to be pretty motivated too because their last showing was not good.
Oh no!
So they want to let people know that they're still here.
And they fixed their offensive line issues, or at least you would think that they have fixed their offensive line issues.
From a Chiefs fan, if it's mediocre, it's good enough for Mahomes because we saw in that Super Bowl there was tons of plays where if he had another half second, he had Tyreek Hill running free or he had Travis Kelce open. It's just you need that just another half second.
So you need your line to do your job.
If we improved a half second, then we'll be okay.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. And look, as a Bills fan, I would have much rather seen the Steelers later in the season when Roethlisberger isn't fresh. This week 1 matchup, this is a good matchup because, at least in theory, Roethlisberger is going to be as healthy as he has been all year long. This will be the healthiest, or you would think week 1 shouldn't have any injuries. This is a dangerous time to play a Steelers team. If you get them later in the season, chances are he's not as fresh, he's not as healthy. You got a better chance at winning the game. Not that they don't have a chance to win, because I think they do, but I think this will be a fun game. For the Browns, man, this is a golden opportunity to sit back and tell everyone, hey, we're here and we are meaning to do some serious damage. However, I do want to remind, not that Browns fans need to be reminded of this, but the 22-year record on opening day since the Browns have come back to Cleveland in 1999, 1 win, 20 losses, and 1 tie is the opening day record for the Cleveland Browns.
When was that 1 win?
That was way back in 2004 or 2005.
It's been what? That's 10, 15, 16 years.
It's been a while. And the game they tied was a few years ago against the Steelers.
I don't want to speak this into existence, But what a way to beat that streak, to beat Kansas City.
Oh, absolutely.
In Kansas City.
Absolutely. And again, this will be the premiere of, the defensive backs. Everyone is, they've straightened that out, and you get the team at its absolute healthiest. It's a great matchup.
Now, the danger, if you do win that game, is to have a letdown after the big emotional win in Kansas City.
Sure.
Because if you win that game and then you lose 3 in a row, it doesn't really matter that you beat Kansas City.
Yeah. And the other part of this, and I go back to 2019, when you looked at the schedule, it was understood the first 8 games of that season, the 8 or 9 games of that season, you looked at that schedule and it was murder's row for the Browns.
Right.
And I had said, look, if you can't get past these first 9 games with a decent record, it's going to go sideways. And sure enough, they were 3-6 after 9 games, and this season went sideways. I think they finished 6-10, so it wasn't a pretty sight for this team. I don't know how this schedule is going to turn out. According to sources, the Browns are playing. Would you say
they're reliable sources, Ron?
This would be somewhat reliable.
Somewhat reliable sources.
According to a somewhat reliable source, Green Bay and Cleveland are playing on Christmas Day in Green Bay. So that's a ways away from opening day in September 13th. So you don't have that near the Kansas City game. In other words, if Kansas City, or if the Browns lose against Kansas City, Green Bay is 2-3 months down the road, where that isn't going to have any effect on post Kansas City. If that game were, like, say, week 2 or week 3, you could look at this and go, man, the Browns could get off to a really bad start if you're opening up against Kansas City, and then you're throwing in a Green Bay or one of the other really tough opponents.
Imagine if they go Kansas City and then they go right into the division and they play like Baltimore or Pittsburgh after Kansas City.
Oof.
I mean,
that's brutal. Yeah, that would be brutal. The same reliable source telling me that Buffalo is going to be playing Thanksgiving afternoon in New Orleans, which, okay.
So that would be the one un-Detroit.
It would be the second.
The one non-Detroit.
Yeah, it would either be the second Thanksgiving game or the primetime Thanksgiving game.
Usually they put the Cowboys on primetime.
Yeah, I would think that's going to wind up being the situation. But
no matter how bad the Cowboys are, they have a strong fan base across the country. So they get numbers.
And I don't want to say the Bills fans party too much, but let's be honest, a lot of these people go through tables. Yeah, a lot of these people go through tables. So you can only imagine the night before Thanksgiving in New Orleans for people that are planning on, I don't know, going to the Superdome to see this game as a Bills fan. All these people are going to be trashed beyond belief in the French Quarters. There's going to be a lot of hangovers and a lot of serious drinking in New Orleans with the Bills.
Les beer now.
Yeah, so the Chocolat Bleu. What is this alcohol that I am drinking? So the only thing that is 100% is the fact that
Week 1
Pittsburgh will be at Buffalo. That's a 1:00 game in Orchard Park, and the Browns will be playing at Arrowhead. That's a 4:25 game, week 1.
It'll probably be nationally televised.
Absolutely.
It'll probably be Jim Nantz and.
Absolutely. That is a damn good way to open up the 2021 National Football League campaign.
And fingers crossed we get Mahomes for the whole game this time.
Yeah, that would be nice.
We'll have to put Chad Henne in.
Although I think it would take some balls to have Chad Penny open up the game and do another 15-yard scramble and then get a key third down.
Throw on 4th and inches.
Yeah.
Throw the ball in the shotgun.
Yeah, and just say, yeah.
Tony,
does this look familiar to you guys?
As Tony Romo said, only Andy Reid would get in the shotgun on 4th and inches with a backup quarterback.
Yeah, that would take some stones to do something like that. But I think that's a great way to open up the season. And then the other thing that leaked, Thursday night, Tampa Bay, the natural spot for the Super Bowl champs. They always play the Thursday night to open up the season, or at least have the option to do that. Tampa Bay will be home to Dallas.
Here's an interesting question about Tampa Bay, because they had the magical run last year, but they didn't have a great start to their season. How does the first half of the season go this year? Do you think they have a great start and they kick off that? Because last year, I think the problem in the first half of the season was Bruce Arians had too much of the reins and didn't let Tom Brady just do his thing.
Well,
and he looked like he learned his lesson.
Yeah.
So now to come back and start the season, does he just say, "Hey, Tom, do whatever you're gonna do and let's roll"?
Well, I mean, common sense would dictate that.
Overcorrect and grab the reins again.
Why would you do that?
Because he's Bruce Arians.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, your team went on a historic run.
He's got a big ego.
I understand that. I mean, look, there's a lot of coaches that have that big ego. The one thing about Tampa Bay
has a big belly.
Well played, sir. Well played. Tampa Bay returns everyone.
They do.
So they're another year older. But they return everyone. So can lightning strike twice again? It wouldn't surprise me. But, again, I mean, if Arians wants to, let Brady do his thing, that would be the smart play. Because, you let the reins go and they went on this unbelievable run. One would assume that you would be smart enough to say, hey, let's just continue what we were doing last year.
I think Brady came in and said, "This air raid offense that you love, it's not what wins for me."
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Let's do exactly what I did in New England for however long he was in New England, like 18 years or whatever. Check down, and then when the opportunities present themselves, I can chuck it downfield, and we have the receivers to do that. But let's take what the defense gives us." And get first downs down the field as well. And that's what Tom Brady did the second half of the season.
The one game I would have, the one team other than Buffalo I would have loved to have seen play Tampa in week number 1 is New England. I mean, you're using Dallas because Dallas is that America's team. That moniker is 25 years long overdue. It's a mediocre team at best.
It is, but I think it still garners America's team because of the fact that it's like the Yankees. Their fan base is everywhere.
No, I get it.
You know what I mean?
I get it. But I think the intrigue of Belichick versus Brady would have been phenomenal for week 1. Mm-hmm. I just do. I think that would have been.
But are they playing the divisions?
Oh, they're playing them this year. To which, I would have sat back and said, oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, it's unfortunately, and I think the reason why they're doing this, I think that game is in Foxborough. And that's probably why they didn't pick that game, because Tampa Bay should be home.
Right.
And they're playing Buffalo at home. They're playing Dallas at home. So that's probably why they didn't choose New England, because, New England, that game is in Foxborough.
You got to wonder how the Saints are going to look this year. First year without Drew Brees.
They got Jameis Winston. Yeah.
Famous Jameis. Not famous Amos, but famous Jameis.
Famous Jameis.
Hey, if he can cut his interceptions in half,
and as long as
he'll be fine.
And as long as he doesn't go seafood shopping, then that's all good.
I think anyone would take 38 touchdowns and 19 interceptions instead of 35 and 38. So if you cut your interceptions in half,
that would be nice.
Like, we're not asking you to be perfect. Just be a little bit more careful with the ball.
Just keep it at 30-plus touchdowns, but knock the interceptions down to under 20, and we'll be happy with that. Speaking of being happy, we got the tournaments and the games on the network. That's all coming up after this timeout as we close up shop on this Wednesday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well-appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
If you're looking for a new Ford vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of new Ford models. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your new Ford. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their new Ford at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
All right, as we close up shop on this Wednesday edition of Running Point, Anthony, you got the games on the network today and tonight.
And before we get to those, some breaking news out of Canfield. Positive news. We've had a lot of breaking news today. Canfield Wrestling, they tweeted this out this morning, will officially welcome Craig Shaw as the new head wrestling coach at Canfield. He will also be serving as the intervention specialist. Craig has 9 years of head coaching experience at Alliance, and he wrestled at Purdue. So congratulations to Coach Shaw for his new job at Canfield and a very strong wrestling program there with a new head coach.
Outstanding news out of Canfield.
So games on the network tonight as we look. We'll start with regular season baseball. Reminder that this will be free. The only thing you have to pay for are the softball playoff games tonight. Lisbon is at Heartland Christian. Your buddy Mark Franken will have the call there. Heartland, the 3 seed in the upcoming tournament. West Branch will be at Salem as they try to bounce back from the loss last night to the Quakers. Lakeview traveling to South Range. Brennan Miller will have the call there. And then we have a Hubbard at Poland softball regular season, which is free. Those teams will square off. Very important. I think South Range will be watching that pretty closely because they're 1 game back of Poland, and Poland's got 2 more against Hubbard. So South Range softball will be watching that very close. Tournament softball. Glen Oak will be at Austintown Fitch. These are the games that you'll have to pay $9.99 for, and they'll get you access to all these games. So Glen Oak at Austintown Fitch. Richie Giuliano will be at the call there. I will be at Boardman as they welcome in the 12-seed Minter for the Division I Sectional Championship. DJ, as said before, will be traveling to Lisbon as they welcome in Shocker. Of course, once again, if you're just joining us, the Lowville-McDonald game was on our schedule. It got canceled. Lowville doesn't have enough players. McDonald moves on to the district semifinals where they await the winner of Sebring versus... I had it, and now it's gone. The 6th seed, Bristol.
Yes,
Bristol and Sebring.
Bristol.
So that is where that'll be. Western Reserve will be traveling to Jackson Milton, and Alec will have the call there. And then Lordstown will be at Brookfield that game. We're trying to work out getting the announcer that was going to be at McDonald down to Brookfield. So stay tuned to ysnlive.com/live for all the games that will be on the network tonight. Once again, regular season games free. Playoff games, $9.99 gets you access to all of them at once.
Okay, the YSU women struggling in the regionals. They are in 17th place out of 18 teams currently, and they are well behind in terms of the top 6 moving on to the national finals. The Penguins are plus 84 over par as a team in 17th place out of 18 teams, but still a heck of an opportunity for them to go into the NCAA regional tournaments. Unfortunately, it has not gone YSU's way to this point.
Yeah, and they have some heavy competition there. I mean, a lot of teams in that regional, Georgia, Kentucky. I saw Washington was in there. So Youngstown State going up a little bit the rung. But no matter what they do, what a season that they've had, and the boys too. So we're proud of them. We're proud of Youngstown State, all the athletics. It's an exciting time to be a Penguin with the golf doing what they're doing, the tennis doing what they're doing. Baseball is closing in on entering their tournament, and softball, of course, hosting the Horizon League tournament. So what a time to be a YSU Penguin. We're proud of them at YSN, and we're proud to be the home of YSU baseball.
Indeed. On that note, we're out of here. Power Hour is coming up next. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.